Alright, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the Champions Cup final. This has been a thoroughly entertaining competition and two of the best sides in the world, Bordeaux versus Leinster here on neutral ground, just to make it that little bit more intriguing. Now, normally with these sides, if Bordeaux were playing in Bordeaux, they would have a very good chance of winning. If Leinster were playing at the Aviva, they would have a very good chance of winning. But because this game is in front of that neutral crowd, it can bring any sort of weird surprises, excitement, and I think these two sides are going to be relatively even, although Bordeaux given the slight favourites edge heading into this contest. Looking through at the groups and what got these two sides to the final, Bordeaux were undefeated, 4 wins from 4 with that points differential of plus 76. Now, I do have to say at the moment, Bordeaux are doing a little bit of a warm-up jog. There are a lot of Bordeaux fans in the stands at the moment. This is almost a home game looking at the amount of flags that are being waved for this Bordeaux side, but they finished top of the bunch. Leinster also finishing with 4 wins from 4 out of their group stage, having that points differential of plus 35. Now that Harlequins points differential, of course, thoroughly impressive, even with the loss in the equation, but Bordeaux, every single game, they received the bonus points. They've been strong from start to finish. Looking to finish this competition with back-to-back titles for the Champions Cup comp. Looking through at the starting lineups, though. We will start with the French, or the Bordeaux side. Of course, Biel is out there at the moment. He is just getting in some last-minute warm-ups. That man has a clinical try-scoring rate when it comes to Bordeaux in general, but he is playing in the number 11 jersey. Also partnering with him in the backline, Mofana, Damien Pinot as the midfield pairing. We've seen Pinot kind of jockeying or chopping and changing between wing and centre for Bordeaux this season, but he finds himself situated in the 13 jersey with Uberti out on the other wing. Salisi Rayasi, that Fijian, 15. He has been in absolutely phenomenal form. I say it all the time, you can understand why Bordeaux got that contract out and extended his time there the way that he's been playing throughout this year. Maxime Lucu and Mathieu Jalabert, a couple internationals as that 9 and 10 combination. Lucu, the captain, looking to once again go back-to-back with this Bordeaux side. In the forward pack, it is Pierrot in the front row alongside Lemuth and Carlos Saidi. The South African has the number 3, Palu and Adam Coleman as the number 5, Boucheton, Cameron Waki, and also Gazzotti will be the number 8. So that is the Bordeaux side, and once again formidable on paper when it comes to their lineup. Looking through at Leinster, they have gone with plenty of Irish internationals across this lineup. Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Thomas Clarkson as the front row. Joe McCarthy and James Ryan in the locking duo with Jack Conan, Josh van der Flair, and Caelan Doris. It's a pretty good 4-pack in this type of matchup of the Champions Cup. In the backline, it is still pretty solid too. Jamison Gibson Park and Harry Byrne as that 9 and 10 combination. The All Black out on the left wing, Rico Ioane with Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringrose in the midfield. Tommy O'Brien and Hugo Keenan as the number 15. If you were to call this Leinster side Ireland plus Ioane, you wouldn't be a mile off. And this side is looking to go very strong in this comp, just like they have been doing in the URC as well. They've got their quarterfinal next week. We saw Ulster. They were knocked out of the URC, and then coming into that next game up against Montpellier, they fought hard but didn't quite get the job done. Leinster want the double this year, and it could definitely take place. We have got there, will you show the game to us? Says Maeve, sadly not. I assume you, or actually you did ask that last week as well, Maeve, but yeah, it is still unavailable because any match footage or audio will get us taken straight off YouTube. Hello, Amish and chat, going to be a cracking game, says Anthony. Yeah, I'm thoroughly excited for this one. It is currently sitting 1:34 a.m. New Zealand time, but it's a good time to watch a game of rugby, in my opinion. It should hopefully be a very entertaining one. We have got there also, hi all and Hamish. Good morning all, welcome in. How's the weather in Spain? Looks like the perfect day for a game of rugby. Looking at the way that the sun's still shining over the top of the stadium, I think it's going to be fine. Osborne should start at 12, says Michael. I think the benefit they've got with Osborne is he's going to be able to bring that impact late. Now, of course, a lot of people would have loved to see him in the starting lineup rather than making his way off of the bench. But I think that when these players start to get a little bit more tired, because I don't see a way that this game isn't played at 1,000 miles an hour. Two very attacking-minded side. Bordeaux love kicking for the corner. Leinster, I believe, will try and match them in that regard. Can you show the game? Once again, no, because it is illegal, but it is available on EPCR TV, which would be your best bet for being able to watch it, or wherever you are in the world, your broadcaster will be on the European Champions Cup site. We have got there, hi all from Leinster, Ireland. Says Michael there, and howdy Hamish and people, welcome in. And we have got Joss here as well, and Leinster by 9. Been a tough path to the final, which will stand to them, says Michael. What we will quickly do is we'll look through at some recent form for these two sides, starting with Leinster. They were able to beat Toulon in the semi-final. Toulon did a lot better in that game than many people gave them credit for. They all but managed to get past the Leinstermen. They had a good win over the Lions and an even bigger win over the Ospreys just last week. And they have, of course, got that quarterfinal up against the Lions. That has taken place in only around the 7 days' time for Bordeaux. They have been in their winning ways, of course, had a few close old games in the top 14 as of late, just narrowly getting by 5 in their most recent, getting by 2 up against Bayonne, and then getting that semi-final victory over Bath, who were a valiant challenger, to get stopped at the semi-final stage. Now, I will mention, of course, there are the 2 games for Bordeaux remaining of the top 14, and then the playoff games will be following. Bordeaux high enough in the standings that more than likely they will find themselves, well, technically, who knows? Maybe they will drop a little bit depending on where the focal has been or the focus point has been for this side when it comes to Champions Cup and balancing the top 14. Currently, they sit in 5th with only 1 point clear of Clermont, 3 points clear of Racing, and 5 clear of La Rochelle, who are in the 8th. Looking at Leinster, they are sitting 2nd. They are sitting quite nicely as a whole. They should have a home semi-final if they get past the Lions in their game 7 days' time. So Leinster are just getting the match kits on, and then they will be ready to head out onto the field. What is a very impressive crowd by the looks of it. A pretty loud one too. They'll be absolutely loving the action. But yeah, the sun is really blaring just onto that far side of the field. I think we'll see a few kicks going high there. And hi Hamish, where's your money? Score predicted, says Joe. For me, it's pretty 50-50. But Bordeaux do come in as favourites. How can it be a draw? Says Cool Story, draw at full time. And then from there we will get extra time. And then from there we will get a kickoff between the two sides. But yeah, that is for the end of the regular time, I guess I should say. We have got the Leinster will win, says Maeve. And also Bordeaux have to be the odds-on favourite here, says Barry Power. They've got I said about it earlier on, it's neutral ground, but I feel like this feels like a Bordeaux home game. Turned out to be a comfortable win for Montpellier in the end, says Anthony. I always vote for the draw, says Lollipop, and also Leinster back row will win it. Yeah, it's looking solid. Jack Conan, Josh Van der Flair, as well as Caelan Doris, although it can't be underestimated what Cameron Wacky can do when that man is firing. Does just seem to lead from the front when it comes to the loose forwards. Boucheton also in some great form. This is just a bit of a dream match in a way, but that's what you get with the Champions Cup. Two sides that were brilliant in their group stage, going into the next stage, winning all their games, having a couple close ones along the way, but everyone likes a close game with a bit of drama. How many games are you doing today and tomorrow? Well, this is the last game of the weekend. We've already finished all the Super Rugby that was taking place, so that means that we have only got the 1 game remaining, which is this one. It is kicking off in around 7 or so minutes' time, but I do want to know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. Who are you backing? I was hoping they could share the trophy because I believe in humanity. Nah, someone's got to win this. And these two sides, they won't be doing any sharing other than the beverages after the game. For now, though, the 80 minutes that is going to be taking place, they're going to be trying to take each other's heads off in the best way possible, hopefully without any cards in the equation. Classy team, says Samuel. And Leinster hasn't beaten Bordeaux. I'll get back to you after the game. Bordeaux played tough opponents. Leinster haven't been tested, says Dennis. So you're saying they could be a little bit fresher then heading into this contest is the way that I look at that. There's always a positive, even if people try and put a spin on it that says that the side shouldn't have a chance. They have done well enough to get to this stage. So even if Bordeaux come out absolutely firing here and manage to win this game, Leinster, there's no taking away from them that they have yet again made another Champions Cup final. They have had consistency in that department, but they just want to get over the line. They did it in the URC. They hadn't won it up until last season. They got the job done. Champions Cup, it hasn't gone to Leinster for quite some time. I'll have nothing more to put it in the cabinet for the next year. Morning, evening, Hamish. Hi from your namesake in the Philippines. Where it is 9:40. Thanks for covering this one. Says Amick, no worries at all. And Bordeaux by 12, says Daryl. Leinster 42, Bordeaux 33, says Michael. Leinster have been tested and have been played poorly overall. Each game a little better. Today is the day it clicks, says Michael. Yeah, and that's the slightly exciting thing about it, isn't it? Because Leinster, their semi-final, they, in a way, did everything they could to try and lose that game. Their game up against the Lions, they had a fair old share of mistakes, but they still managed to get a pretty handy win. And then that game last week up against the Ospreys, it was probably the best we've seen Leinster looking in quite some time in terms of the smoothness and the way that they were managing the game. But they need that game management here because they're up against Bordeaux, who deceptively sit 5th in the top 14, but that can't fool anyone. They are a very good team. You look through at their side, they've got internationals from start to finish, whether or not they're French or whether they're Fijian, but they will go out there and they will put everything into this game. Bordeaux 10 and 11 best in the world, says Daryl. And Bordeaux play fast game, Leinster will be suffocated, says Dennis. And also we have got the Leinster lose, it could shatter their URC season. It could. We could see a little bit of an Ulster situation. We have got there with Beep Beep, Luku and Pinot on the field. I love the nickname Beep Beep, by the way. It's something so simple but so effective. And he literally just runs around people as well, like he is in a vehicle compared to them trying to chase after him. We have got there, it'll be a game you can't take your eyes off. Home for a Leinster win, maybe by 6. See, the worst possible scenario here is this game goes very quickly. Because it's the type of game that you kind of wish there was a way that rugby games went more than 80 minutes, like a 2-legger or a 3-legger between these two sides. But sadly, we only get 80 minutes here. Unless, of course, it's a draw, then we go to extra time and we get a little bit longer. But it's going to be good. I can't stop smiling, which is good, because if I wasn't smiling, I'd be sleeping because it's currently almost 2 a.m. To see Leinster odds 42% from the bookies to win the URC, says Kahu. It's pretty generous, but at the same time, I can understand why. If they get that home field and perhaps they're thinking that Connacht are going to be able to do something up against the Glasgow Warriors at the end of the day. Connacht, one of the informed sides in the URC heading into the playoffs, even though they are ranked 8th. We have got there, this is not the URC, says Dennis. Okay, so I've worked out with Dennis. Anyone who disagrees with Dennis is wrong. Dennis is always right. We need to remember this as this match progresses. We have got there Bordeaux by 12 too much. No, I think it will be closer than some people think, although Dennis said 20, so that is what it's going to be. 20 for Bordeaux, Dennis said so. Boom, that's a rhyme, didn't mean to. On a roll, says Samuel there, and a draw, says Cool Story. I did Miss Amish's famous mustache a lot. Well, I chopped off my mustache. I had a shave the other day. So I'm slightly missing it. I'm a bit bare on the face. Caelan Doris, he's growing a much better beard than myself, but he is about to lead his side out there onto the field. We're only 2 minutes away from the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you haven't already, let me know who you think is going to be winning this game and who you think is going to score first in terms of the exact player. Are we going to see once again Louis Bielbiaré go over the try line just like he has pretty much every single game that he's played in recent times? Or could we see some sort of little sneaky early Leinster try? I think if anyone was going to get an early try, it's going to be Tommy O'Brien for Leinster. Something about the way that man plays and just finds space. Bordeaux by 15, says Splash TV. You also mentioned the haircut. That was something that I did get alongside the trim of the beard. Rufy made Hamish blush. I think it might have also been because I was running out of air. I forgot to breathe for about a full minute there when I was talking, so that doesn't help with the colour of the cheeks. Try ITV in terms of the best option out of Ireland. Is this free to air in Ireland, by the way, ladies and gents? Adam Coleman, the big Aussie, making his way onto the field after seeing the high-scoring match yesterday. This could go to Bordeaux, says Matthew. Yeah, Montpellier looked the real deal, didn't they? They went out there, they looked aggressive, and it was pretty high-scoring as a whole. The weird thing is, we're either going to get a game that's completely wide open, try after try after try here between the two teams, pretty much just a pound for pound like we saw at the end of the Six Nations between England and France, or we're going to get the opposite. We're looking like a 15-12 or somewhere around there where both sides defend their absolute backsides off. And, maybe it's a little bit harder, but I think they're too attacking-minded that they're just going to go through anyway. As an Islands rugby supporter, Leinster to win, says Gerard there. And first try, Jameson Gibson Park. That's a decent shout. Little inside ball to Gibson Park off a breakaway is something that Leinster do like to use. They're actually just showing Tommy O'Brien. He's my pick to score the first try if Leinster get it. If Bordeaux, well, you got to go Louis Bielbiere if Bordeaux score first, just because he always does. Greetings, everyone, says Cameron. Welcome in. And not free to watch in Ireland. That's why I'm here. Thanks so much, says Hillary. And also we have got the high, says them in the 11. Welcome in. We've got Joe here too, saying allergy free. Yeah, haven't sneezed too much today, believe it or not. Carl Dixon, he will be the referee in charge of this contest. Taking the deep breaths now because I'll forget to breathe during the game. Oh, Robbie Henshaw hoping that they aren't going to blow the whistle yet. He's still doing up the shoelace. Not going to see won the A-League title. I was good win, says them in the 11th. And no, not free to air view in Ireland. I'm not rich enough to pay, so listen to you to keep me up to date. So I will try my best to give you as accurate as possible what is happening. Leinster are going to be kicking off from left to right, and the Champions Cup final for 2026 has now been kicked off. Deep kickoff from Leinster as well, trying to force Bordeaux back from the get-go. There's going to be well over 1,000 running metres in this game. You know, when you just get that feeling like everyone's just going to keep on flying forward. Maxime Luku, the captain of Bordeaux from inside of the 22, looking for distance, and he has got a decent amount of it. An early mistake made at the back from Leinster. Hugo Keenan was able to keep the ball in the field of play, but it went through the fingers and was dropped. It will now be the scrum fee for Bordeaux, an attacking chance early on in this final. Bielbiere have the best current half, Bordeaux have the best current half pairing in the world. It will be the difference, says Matthew. And Luku, fantastic kick. Yeah, he got a fair old amount of that off the boot. Well, the Maxime Luku strike, putting it downfield, and just that early, maybe nervous play from Hugo Keenan. He did the hard work of making sure that it wasn't going to go into touch. But sadly for him, ball ran away from the fingertips. Early scrum here for the big Bordeaux pack. They have got an even bigger option off their bench, and Bentame Funa, of course, he has been in a great vein of form this season. Runs like he's a bit of a runaway freight train, that man. Great player to have off the bench. Maxime Luku, free kick, goes the way of Bordeaux. They decide to take it quickly now, moving into the midfield. Mofana, drop ball from Pinot. And now the knock-on has come from this Bordeaux side. Rico Ioane possession. Leinster, I should mention, are wearing the away or the alternative strip for this game. The white shirt with a little bit of yellow trim down the bottom and the blue shorts. That navy blue on them. Bordeaux on that classic striped kit. The purple and the purple. Now, Maxime Luku. Oh, sorry, James Gibson Park. Going back. On the side of Bordeaux, Salisi Rayasi, the Fijian international, dragged down by Jack Conan. They are still playing under the knock-on advantage. 2 minutes into the contest. Would you rather be short or tall? Wait, would you rather be short but tall or tall but short? Short but tall, I guess. Tall but short. No, that's hurt my brain at this hour of the morning. Oh, there's a little bit of stuff that's happened there in the chase for Bordeaux. There might have been obstruction involved, but for now the ball is back on their side. Maxime Luku going short side. Another tackle made by Jack Conan, who will have to be busy all throughout this 80 minutes. That is if he is expected to play the full time. Now, cross to the right-hand side, 35 metres out from the line. Luku. This is where they get dangerous, Bordeaux, if they can start slinging it wide. Leinster making their important early tackles. Maxime Luku again looking to go to the right. Jalabert just playing a little bit of territory there. Kicking the ball into touch 15 metres out from Leinster's line. It's strategic. It also slows the game down a little bit. Gives Bordeaux the chance to try and steal a line out. We have got up the Auckland FC, up the Wires and up the Blues. Says Hobbit there. I'd rather be short and wear leather pants, says Ruth. Can you be tall and wear leather pants too, or do they not make tall leather pants? I don't think I've ever seen someone who's 7 foot wearing leather pants, so maybe they don't. But line out throw here for Dan Sheehan. Going to the front, nice take from Joe McCarthy. I'll wait to the right. They will move just up to almost outside of the 22, but this one is inside, so Jameson Gibson Park will be able to kick this one out on the full. And that's going to be a very good kick. That's the thing. It's the battle of the two halfbacks who have phenomenal kicking, which does mean every opportunity there will be a lot of metres made. Gibson Park, though, very happy with that kick. There are some important-looking people wearing suits watching on. I'm not actually too sure who those people are. Someone will know. I believe they are... I don't actually know who that would be. I was trying to think. I know that sometimes we've seen royalty in, but I don't think they were royalty, although maybe rugby royalty. Looking good, Hamish. I am ham. Oh, no, I had my ham. Jeez. Mayonnaise rolls for lunch. Cow legs aren't long enough to make tall leather pants, says Glenn. Can you, like, stitch halfway up the knee or something? Like, put it together? Oh, that ball hasn't come out for Bordeaux off the line out, and it means that Leinster will now get themselves the scrum feed. Bit of a rare error off the set piece of Bordeaux, but it gives Leinster now the attacking chance, pretty much where Bordeaux were down the other end of the field when Hugo Keenan had his knock on. As Hamish says, Yanko doing very well. Excited for this game. Already 5 minutes have passed. I was talking about earlier on, hoping that this game would go slowly, but it seems like it's going to be all pace, and before we know it, the game's going to be over. It's a good match. I'll be able to see it till 3:20, says Connor. Pack weight's 912 kgs for Bordeaux and 884 kgs for Leinster. Is that a side parting? It is. However, I've just put my hair. It's not like on purpose. It's just literally trying to keep it almost looking like it's straight. But like, I don't know what type of style it would be other than just shorter than it was. Carl Dixon just having a conversation there with the front row of Bordeaux. Leinster could potentially win 2 trophies, Champions Cup and URC, says Anthony. I guess Bordeaux in the same boat. They could technically win Champions Cup and the top 14 as well, although they'd have to win a few away games, looking at where the table sits. Now scrum feed, 25 metres out from Bordeaux's line here for Leinster. Gibson Park. It's the ball in the bright yellow socks of the Leinster pack too. It's gone down on the far side. Referee says play on. Different attacking run there from Robbie Henshaw. Actually cut back towards the scrum rather than drifting outwards. And every breakdown, Bordeaux at least committing one man to try and steal that ball. 2-man tackle there by Reasi. Well, it's one of the big Bordeaux forwards. Another drop ball, although it looks like it's gone backwards for Leinster. Now away to the right-hand side. They move up to 22 out. 15 in from the sideline. James Gibson Park shifts back left to James Ryan. Now attack and run. Going through a little bit too quickly was Thomas Clarkson. They missed the pass to him, but left it. We're back instead, and there was almost a turnover there for Bordeaux. There was half a second that Carl Dixon said that it was Bordeaux's ball, but taken straight back by Leinster in the breakdown. 2 Bordeaux players trying to rip it away, including Pierre Boucheton. Now away, Gibson Park, 10 metres from the try line. Pick and go here. Leinster, they are on the front foot. There's an injury. Who is that? I think that is actually Boucheton, who has ended up with the injury here. 5 metres out, Gibson Park going right-hand side, right next to the touchline. Big shot coming in on Gary Ringrose, getting smashed sideways. I think Gibson Park realised that if he had gone left, they would have stopped the game due to the injury. So instead going right and just going with a few more phases with the forwards for now. Now, Andrew Porter, the Irish international. That can be said about pretty much 90% of this Leinster starting lineup. And then the others in all black. Going away to the left-hand side. Still 10 metres out from the line. Good defence from Bordeaux. 17 phases in a row here for Leinster. Inside pass to Joe McCarthy. He had a good day last week, scoring for fun up against the Ospreys. Looking for the steal, not able to get it. Pierre Ray rushes up there. Now still 6 metres out. They have got numbers on the right. And it's Tommy O'Brien who scores the first try of this Champions Cup final. And get it, son, says Barry Power. And we have got that Reasi coming back to the Canes. Nah, they've locked him in long term. They aren't letting him go anywhere, Bordeaux, off the way that he's been playing. But the try for Tommy O'Brien there. Hope Leinster play better than Ulster yesterday. Ulster had a number of wasted scoring opportunities in the first 20. Could have completely changed the outcome if they took them. Did you pick that first try? Yeah. It doesn't happen often, but got that one right. Oh, yeah, I've got there. Try. And Hamish, did you say Tommy O'Brien first? Yeah, he's just been in a good vein of form, old Tommy O'Brien, out on the wing. And it pretty much was scored in the same way that I thought they would in terms of backline movement. Although I thought it would be from the 22 rather than 5 out, to be fair. But I'll still take it. That one's gone over from the sideline from Harry Byrne. That is a phenomenal kick in a pressure situation. And now Leinster lead this game 7 points to 0. Your side kick, Hamish, says Ruth. Oh. Mathieu, he makes his way on, and that is due to the injury of Boucheton. That is a big concern there early on for Bordeaux. Already losing one of their forwards. Cup final on the other team has no chance. It's a bit odd, mate, says Sven. Who you talking about? Are you saying that Bordeaux don't have a chance or Leinster don't have a chance? Did you put money on them? No. I think my TAB account has about 50 cents in it, but that's just so that I can watch things on the TAB because they have like the broadcast option for like cricket, for what else is there? There's basketball on there as well. I did see the odds though. He was paying about $21 to score first, so someone might have been a very rich person if they had backed him, but now moving this one forward. Maxime Lucu, attacking chance here for Bordeaux to look to strike straight away. Backline movement out to BLBRA. Ball on the inside, and that was almost through, but just dragged down short of the try line. That was perfectly done by Leinster, although they've given away the penalty advantage. So there's the one slight mistake made on defence. Backline movement. Jalabert moves it on. Lemouth throws it out wide. Cameron Walkie. Oh, he's gone aggressive with the dive, and he may have just scored that try. On-field decision as try. He has done a dive for the corner. He leapt early because he knew that there was going to be the collision, and Leinster may not quite have been able to stop him. As the names, or in the names behind you, the Leinster fly half is a French hat. Leinster fly half is in Harry Byrne. Oh no, his hand, I think, just went down for Cameron Walkie. It is extremely unlucky, but I think that hand's grounded before the ball, and he is about this far from scoring the first try for Bordeaux in this game. Anyone else who reads Johnny Sexton's book laugh when they see Rieko Ioane's name in the Leinster squad? Love it. Says some dude. Oh, that looked a little bit more simultaneous from the back angle. That other angle looked like the hand did touch the ground first, but half an inch is all that it took for Cameron Walkie. It is going to be no try for him in the corner. The on-field was try as well, so they needed clear, conclusive evidence that that wasn't a grounding. But Lemouth, it was a pretty handy pass from him to get that one out wide. But now 11 minutes in, Leinster do still lead 7 points to 0, but that was close to Walkie having some brilliance. He kept the legs off the ground, but it was just the hand. The last moment that went down. Oh, he's not happy. He still believes that he scored this try. And the crowd, well, the thing is, they're not going to TMO a TMO decision, though. Okay, we just saw one of the Bordeaux supporters in the stands go like that, as if to say it wasn't a try. But 5 metres out from the line, this could be. Tell us more about why it's funny that Rieko is in Leinster. Says Demitato, it's because of the exchange between Rieko Ioane and Johnny Sexton at the last Rugby World Cup. As the reasoning behind it. That one's going to be thrown in by Lemouth. That one almost stolen by Joe McCarthy, but it is a knock on there from Leinster. And go Walkie, go Brokey. A rugby game of inches now, says Joe Mann, and that was certainly one of those moments that, Walkie was all but able to get himself the try there, but Bordeaux still on the attack, about 6 metres out from the try line. Maxime Lucu looking away to the right now. Carlos Sadie, 2-man tackle on him, and another advantage against Leinster, just short of the 5 metre line. These are the type of penalties you cannot afford to give away. Good carry from Coleman. Gets that a little bit closer. Maxime Lucu goes across there. Brilliant tackle on Boris Palu. 12 offside though. Every time Leinster make a spot tackle that is of much importance. They find themselves in an offside position. Maxime Luku goes across there. Biel Biarray decided he wanted to be the crash ball specialist. They will go back for the penalty again. I feel bad for Ulster yesterday, lost against Montpellier. Well, I think Ulster did pretty well to make it through to that final. But the problem was their focus was split. And I think they would have done a lot better in the URC had they not gone so far in the Challenge Cup. But now they're kind of in that scenario how they've finished for the season now. A yellow next one. It'd be close to a warning, I would think, with the amount that we've seen. Who has qualified for the playoffs, for the Super Rugby Pacific playoffs, who can still qualify because of the Western Force only beating the Fijian draw by a thin margin. It means top 6 is confirmed. But we'll go through that in a very short moment as once again, Maxime Luku looking to get an attack going with his backs. Now 3 metres out. Looking off to Mathieu. Made his way onto the field not too long ago. And now pick and go Maxime Luku has scored the try. The captain leading from the front. And Bordeaux back into this game. And if you want a little bit more of a positive, it was between the posts rather than out wide. So a much easier kick for Bordeaux in this scenario. That should make it 7-all. We have their attacks on top. So here's Allen there. And also we have who has qualified for the playoffs. So in terms of the qualifying team so far, Hurricanes have guaranteed number 1 spot. Then at the moment at the table goes Chiefs, Blues, Crusaders, but only by 2 points separating them. And then Brumbies and Reds are both in there as well. That one has gone over though. Can anyone beat the Hurricanes? We'll wait and see whether or not the Crusaders can next week. It's in Christchurch. They're undefeated at the stadium. It's a good clean pickup as well from Maxime Luku. We've seen a lot of them recently in terms of halfbacks trying to pick up the ball and slightly knocking it on. The TMO's been all over it, but in this case, Maxime Luku clean as it could have been. Oh, a bit too much juice on that kickoff from Leinster as well, and it's gone dead. We have it there. When was the last time you felt offside, figuratively speaking? I was on like one of those Lime scooters and we almost got hit by a car, our group. So that was probably when I felt offside. Luckily, we didn't get knocked off the scooter because that could have been quite bad. Did you get to the stadium, Crusaders vs Chiefs? Yeah. Much better game than we watched last year, which was Crusaders Highlanders when it was 15-12. This game was just back and forth. The crowd were very loud as well. But yeah, it was pretty awesome as a whole. But scrum on the halfway line, there's an awesome opportunity for Bordeaux to get the attack going. The bookies are giving Leinster no chance. Hope they're wrong, says Irish. Yeah, see, I'm still of the belief of about I do think 50-50 here in terms of these two sides. Whoever shows up and plays the better rugby for the 80 minutes will win this game. And they've both got dangerous attacks. There's absolutely no denying that. They're both, well and truly capable of winning. But it's who makes more errors. And I think at the moment, Leinster defensively have made a few mistakes in terms of rushing up too quickly, but that is because of the danger of Bordeaux's attack. You've got to shut it down quicker, or else Jalabert gets a bit of space, and all of a sudden you've got to be Biarray running down the wing. Speaking of which, he has got the ball in hand. He's gone for the chip in behind. That one may have a little bit too much on it as well. It will go dead off the kick of Biarray. It didn't look like he struck it too hard. He's saying it hit someone's fingers. I think that's optimism from Biarray. He's saying, please check it. Was there anyone within touching distance of Biarray? No, didn't quite touch the finger of Hugo Keenan there. What happened to the Blues? Such bad season so far. Well, they're sitting third. So the thing is, they've had their moments. Their ill discipline's hurt them many times. Oh, was that behind angle trying to show that it may have had a fingertip on it? Glad you're still alive. Second best New Zealand friend. So here's Gold's story. Oh, no. To be fair, super slow-mo. There's a finger of Hugo Keenan that does touch. Okay. So that means, what does that mean? 5 metre scrum taken back by Leinster, theoretically? Yeah, so it's going to be a 5 metre scrum for Bordeaux. Haluku to get a hat-trick. Says Ruth. I thought they were Not using TMO for that. Well, it didn't seem like they were going to. But then Biel Biarray went over to Holly Davison, I forgot her last name for a second, and kept on saying he is absolutely certain that something's happened there. When the Super Rugby Pacific is played, Matt Work, does the Crusaders still have the horses galloping around the field? They lost it for the first week, the Super round. They didn't have the horses due to health and safety. But since then, they have had them back. Although while we were there, I don't know whether or not they showed it on the screen, but one of the horses did fall over and kind of took a big chunk out of the turf. And then another horse also played up a little bit, which was not ideal. But luckily, they went in rather than into the crowd. They went infield. So that's, I guess, the best case scenario. But now, 5 metres out from the line, Bordeaux. And an advantage here at scrum time. The heavier pack doing their work there. Mofana, Acosta, Jalabur, Salisi, Rayasi. Wide cut-out pass. And this is the try now out wide for Pablo Ubretti. And Bordeaux take the lead. His first 10 minutes. How was the first try? It was well set up by Leinster. I think they had about 18 phases in a row. And then just going out to Tommy O'Brien. And then from there, Bordeaux have been really trying to hone down on that attack. And they've done nicely in that regard. Man, mistakes are expensive. Yeah. One mistake costs you big time. And the thing is, I don't know if you call that one from Hugo Keenan a mistake. I think that's just one of those unlucky ones. He partially charged down a kick. It clipped his pinky. It goes dead. And then it becomes a 5 metre attacking scrum, which is best case scenario for Bordeaux in that scenarios. I said scenario twice. I get that Keenan got a touch. Just sick of players appealing to the refs for everything all the time. See, it's Studs race. Now Maxime Luku. Line up this kick, and it is straight down the middle again. Bordeaux went from 7-0 down to now 14-7 ahead. We've almost hit the first quarter of this contest. We've already had 3 tries. So that answers that question of whether or not we were going to see a high-scoring game between these two teams or whether it was going to be a little bit of a lower-scoring one. Now, something a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a hydration break. Now, we have seen that happen for games in South Africa. We've seen it for a few games in Fiji, just due to the hotter conditions. Are you doing South Africa vs Barbarians 20th of June? I believe so, although it's also the same day as the URC final. So I really hope those two don't overlap. More than likely, they'll overlap the URC with South Africa A versus Zimbabwe, which is a shame because we would have liked to do that one on the channel too, but I think they're going to try and make it so that you can't watch everything, which is really annoying because surely there are other gaps that they could have gone with. Come on, Bordeaux, says Paul. And game is very fast-paced and go BBB, or sorry, UBB, says Dennis. And guaranteed that at some point in this match, the ref will go or will not go to TMO for something that potentially benefits Leinster. Everyone will lose their mind, says Justin. And let's have this, says Michael. And 12-7, 14-7 at the moment after that kick from Maxime Luku. The bench will win it. 2 solid benches too for these sides. But we have got the hydration break for these two teams. It's about 3 minutes long, I believe. And then they'll be back underway. That's actually slightly beneficial, you'd think, for these two sides. They'll be able to break down their halves, go, right, this is what we did good in the first 20. I think for Leinster in their conversation now, it's about trying to limit those ill-disciplined moments on defence, just rushing up a little bit too quick. I think there's been about 3 or 4 offside penalty advantages against Leinster. For Bordeaux, they were pretty solid in defence. They had about 18 phases. Adsuck says BTW pads it. And UBB 35 to Leinster's 24. Could happen. I think we're going to keep on seeing tries here between the two sides. Possession at the moment, 57% for Bordeaux, 63% territory. Someone said this first time these teams have played like 9 years. It wouldn't surprise me because they're always right up there in terms of the qualification of their groups. But it's kind of surprising that they haven't met in a pool stage in all that time, to be honest. This one's going to be kicked off. But I guess if they're both relatively high-ranked qualifiers, again, it might work out that they just never get the chance. Very good kick downfield from Maxime Luku from inside of his 22. Sorry, Michael Leinster lose. Says cross. And is playing with the slow style of South African teams. And URC slowed Leinster down. I don't think so. I think that they've actually tried to push the pace a little bit here, which is why they keep on getting themselves offside. They're trying to rush up and shut down Jalabert, who, when he gets the attack right, can be absolutely lethal. Now Dan Sheehan line out here for Leinster. It's going to take a little while to throw this one in. A 4-man line out, although nicely taken by Jack Conan in the end, moving it away to the left-hand side. Leinster haven't really shifted it left much in terms of the back line. They have been preferring this near side. I think that's just due to the sun where it is located at the moment. Park will go high. Tommy O'Brien chasing after this one. The lone try scorer for Leinster, but he's knocked it on. And Salisi Rayasi with a great pickup. Now Maxime Luku goes across to Lemouth. Still just that one change in terms of the benches. Jalabert tries to chip him behind. Pinot's after it, but it is taken by Leinster. Offloaded up from Gary Ringrose. Ahoy H says 1BL. Welcome in. I've been watching a question and answer session by Henry Pollock. Very interesting. He rates the All Blacks high up. Says Ruth. Now Gibson Park. Of course, Northampton in the final last year up against Bordeaux. That was after being able to beat Leinster in the semi-finals. That was considered a massive upset. That's a nice run from Jalabert, but holding on to the ankle was Ringrose. No, that time it was Henshaw. Yalbiare. Not a lot of space to work with on this near side of the field. 5 metres from the sideline. Where's this being played? It is being played in Spain. But I would have to say, so far I've noticed a lot more Bordeaux supporters than Leinster supporters. Although that might also be because Bordeaux supporters do have a lot of flags. So because of that, that's made it very easy to spot them. Nice take in the air from Bielbiare. 21 minutes through. Maxime Luku opens up the opportunity for Jalabert to go the channel next to the ruck. Gazzotti now. Way to the left, Maxime Luku. Very quick ruck speeds for both of these sides and quicker hands. Passing it out wide. Walkie goes to Coleman. Tackled by Porter. Ball's loose. Picked up by Luku. They lost a few metres there, Bordeaux, but nothing too substantial. Still on the attack with Pinot. Now right-hand side. Someone situated way out on the wing at the moment. I think it would be Bertie waiting for the chance. Rayasi almost through, but another low tackle made by Jack Conan. Maxime Luku, they are 22 metres out now at the moment. Carlos Sadie. And again, moving it quickly. Mofana. Nice pass on to Pinot. Man, that man has dropped the ball a lot, but luckily for him, he's regathered before it hit the ground. Now a step on the inside. That's close for Leinster to be able to get the steal. They got it, but then they knock it on in the breakdown. Big second half ahead, says Michael. And also we hear the South African teams leaving EPCR European Championships, says cross-boarding. Yeah, there are the rumours going round. The Leinster tiers in Spain are for mostly on their finals pain. Says I am Nutty's writing poetry. I was rhyming earlier on the stream, and I don't know why it happened that way, but I guess it was what it was. We have you there, cross. Goodbye. Says Ben there. Now sitting about 25 metres out. Okay, Carl Dixon's just getting annoyed at the front rows. That's the thing. You can reset a scrum 50 times. The players still don't quite seem to do what the referee wants them to. All about getting that little tiny advantage if you can. This Bordeaux pack, they have got the weight advantage. They're going to look to use it here. Get a big scrum going. Bielbiare. He's definitely a player to keep an eye on, and he is on the right side of the scrum. It's about 12 metres in from the near sideline. They haven't got a single player on the left. And that one almost just perfectly sets up for them to be able to go right with Moafana. Now Maxime Luku pops it up to Palu. 12 metres out, right out in front of the post. Luku again, moving it on. I think he should be sleeping. I have golf in the morning, says BTW Padsa. The Bulls are going to win the URC. Says cross-boarding. Now 10 metres out, Palu with another carry. Where do they go here? I don't even know if they're going to get to go anywhere. No, it's another penalty advantage against Leinster. Oh, I can't pass Uberti. Tackle right next to the sideline. Couldn't get his offload in. Pick and go from Salisi. Rayasi couldn't quite reach out. Maxime Luku pops the ball up now. And that is about a half-metre away from the try line. Question is, where are they going to go? Coleman goes back to Jalabert. He was shut down. Offloads over the top. And it is going out to Biel Biarre. He should be able to finish from there. Electric stepping from the winger. And it is the try. It's the third for Bordeaux. And just like always, Biel Biarre has scored himself the try. Are we over there? URC final, Glasgow versus Leinster, says Ben. Oh, that would be a Glasgow home. Well, depends on where they end up going. Because I think it's been mentioned how they may not play the home game per se for Glasgow because of the size of the stadium. But it's a great pass over the top. You can see Wacky was sweating on that ball, but it just lobbed over his head, so he wasn't able to grab it. He thought he was getting the pass, but in the end, BLBRA still had a lot of work to do, but just the quick lightning stepping put him through and finishes off the third for Bordeaux. A bit cryptic to me after Ireland lose the New Zealand World Cup quarterfinal. Rico said to Johnny, enjoy your retirement, don't miss your flight. C word. It's the first chapter, good book, says some dude. All right, I'm going to sleep. Good luck to both teams. Have a good night, everyone, says BTW Padser. The Bulls in Glasgow in the semi. Okay, so that would mean that Glasgow beat Connacht, Bulls beat Munster. That one was the good step there when he got round Jameson, gives him Park, and then Conan just not quite able to drag him down. Now Bordeaux. It's been a good day off the kicking tee for both of these sides. 21 points to 7, 4 from 4 between them. Three of them have been the captain and Maxime Luku. Come on, Leinster. Are you better than this? Get stuck in. Says Dennis. Nice take from Hugo Keenan. And BLB right on him. Now wide cut out pass. To that left-hand side, Gary Ringrose drops his head. Thomas versus Leinster in the semi-final. Says cross-bowling. Go Bordeaux. Go Salisi Rayasi. Go with the win. Says I'll see you there. Yeah, Rayasi almost able to get over the line for that last try. Backline movement here for Leinster. Joe McCarthy tackled and a nice... Oh no, he's gone straight down on his head. Never mind. I was going to say nice body position in the breakdown from the mouth, but just lost the footing. Wide cut out pass. It has gone flat out to Josh van der Fleer. Now pick and go from Rico Ioane. Offload on the inside to Gibson Park. There are plenty of players with extreme acceleration for this Bordeaux side. Even their forwards. A lightning quick off the mark. Now going right-hand side again. Oh, that's a massive chopping tackle from Mofana on Gary Ringrose. What do you think of Montpellier skinning of Ulster? I haven't seen the game yet, only the scoreline. So I have to watch the replay at some stage. As I only got home just before that Super Rugby game. Advantage to Leinster. They go with a cross kick, not able to take it cleanly for Van der Fleer, so they will go back for the penalty. Go Louis Bielbiere. Leinster need to score next. Can't get too far behind to have a chance for a comeback win. As James Lowe returned to New Zealand, think contract finished. I'm not actually sure where he's going to end up. James Lowe. Because he'd still be slightly in the equation for the World Cup next year, right? And Bordeaux threatening to run away with this. Says, oh yeah, if they score next, I think it would be too big of a margin. Although, you know, you look at games like Leinster versus La Rochelle a couple years ago. How La Rochelle, they were down by, this is probably not the best game to bring it up, but they were down by a big margin. Came back to win the game up against Leinster. Leinster down by a reasonable margin here. Now, 14 points is nothing crazy. Oh, okay, that was a big mistake. That one's going to be slapped dead. What's the verdict here? Okay, so Leinster were going to go for a line out. No one jumped. Cameron Wacky got his hand up and just slapped it dead. And, yeah, I don't know what happened there. It seemed like the initial plan was to go to Caelan Doris at the front, and Dan Shan, he just kind of looked confused. 17 down at 12 minutes. Says I am nutty. And take the three, says Ben. Nah, they're going for the only option there, which was the scrum. They didn't have the penalty advantage from it, as it just counted as the ball going dead. But if they get an advantage here, Interesting to see what they do. I don't know if they can risk going threes when Bordeaux are going in the equations of sevens. Now you're told to use it. Breaking off the back was Caelan Doris. Gibson Park ran right, but Doris went left. And now space here for Leinster to be able to shovel it out left if they do want it. Gibson Park moves it on. Bit of a numerical mismatch out wide. Though Bordeaux now start to get a couple more men across. Couple metres from the try line for Clarkson. Gibson Park on again. To Robbie Henshaw. Good defence on their goal line from Bordeaux yet again, although still 5 metres out. Comeback season, says Itchy. And there too. Jalabert rushes up. Was he offside? Sounds like he is just about on. To 8 phases. They did take about 18 to be able to score their first try, Leinster. That was due to the way that Bordeaux were able to defend. But this is the right time to score it if you are Leinster. If you get one now, you're right back in this game and heading towards the halftime break. Once again, it is absolutely flying by this game, but still a couple more phases here for the Leinstermen once more. Waiting for that gap to be able to open up. It's not easy up against a side like Bordeaux, but it is not impossible. We've seen them break through with Tommy O'Brien earlier on in the contest too. Screen has gone black at the moment for us here in New Zealand. Hopefully that... Oh! Okay. It went black for a few seconds. Came back. Pinot's on the screen. Bordeaux is celebrating. So I would say Bordeaux may have just got either a big steal or made a big tackle. We're about to see the replay now. So Gibson Park passed it across and Conan dropped it. Okay, so Pinot actually didn't do anything in that scenario. He was just a man on the screen. It's a pity we don't see this awesome French players in the South more often. And they may get respect, or more respect than they deserve, if they do continuously test themselves below the equator, as well as above. Well, with that Club World Cup coming around the corner, there is a chance that we get to see a little bit more of North versus South. Pollock Lucky, it's not playing in the Bucky's Botha or Victor Matfield era, says Joe Mann. But surely the current group of players, we've heard enough praise about them that they should be able to do what the guys of yesteryear have also done. You invited for steak and chips I'm making now. Says Mohadine, it might get cold by the time I get there, Mohadine. It's a long flight that also I haven't got booked. But yeah, if you're willing to keep it slightly warm for about 18 hours, could be possible. Yeah, I missed all that too. Happy BB or UBB fans for some reason. Also, it was everyone in New Zealand who might have got cut out there, was it? Does race? You haven't mentioned Rico. What is he doing? They don't want to go out to his wing. They've only gone on that side once. And they also haven't really looked to shift it wide too often, Leinster. Only when they've got a penalty advantage have they gone a bit more aggressive with a cross kick or anything along those lines. Told to use it there. Maxime Luku, 5 metres out from their own line. Jalabert. This one downfield and into touch. Wake up, Leinster. This ain't going to do. Says Shane there. Currently visits to the opposition 22. 6 for Bordeaux. 3 from Leinster. And wake up Leinster. Yeah, they need to try, I wouldn't say before halftime, but they need to be the next team to score. That will be the difference between a chance of a win and a loss. I think the Mostert, his name and era may be better than Matfield Buckius, honestly. Why can't they broadcast it on Sky? They used to have it on Sky. Oh, another knock on from Leinster there. And does give the ball straight back to Bordeaux. Jalabert will go with the up and under, looking for a little bit of distance on it while also making it slightly competitive. Just outside of the 22, a well-weighted kick. Hugo Keenan running it sideways. But yeah, they did have the licensing last year, Sky. But then this year, they lost the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup. And then TVNZ Plus used to have the URC, and they lost that as well. So it's kind of gone from having one broadcast, or two broadcasts, here in New Zealand, to now you've got like 3. And that's not including to watch the top 14, which would be a separate subscription as well. Time for another water break. They do them 20 minutes into the games, or into the half. So they'll have one at 60 minutes will be our next one. Hello, everyone. Says Chris there. Now, knock-on advantage for Leinster. Will go for the kick and behind. Harry Byrne looking for the 50-22, but Louis Biel-Biarre is able to get back and cut that one off. And he this time puts the ball into touch. Leinster in this final against UBB. Look like Bulls versus Leinster. And URC final last year. No plan on attack. Says Ben. I've counted 2 so far, says Finn. I mean, unofficial water breaks. You see the medics running on drinks all the time while players are injured. Everything along those lines. The official hydration breaks, they do have the 3-minute period allocated to them. Because, I mean, that man's bleeding from the eye at the moment, or above the eye. So he'll get patched up, and while that's happening, someone will probably sneak a quick bevy in. Bevy being water in this scenario. They aren't allowed the other type of beverages till after the game. It sounds of it, same player who's already been off for a blood replacement earlier on in the half. I got his Dallas McLeod is joining Exeter Chiefs next year. Very handy player. He can play out on the wing, can play in the centres as well. He's got a good bit of size to him. But, yeah, I would definitely keep an eye out for him. I think he'll be handy in the Exeter Chiefs setup. A bit of a loss for New Zealand rugby as well. Ex-All Black, Dallas McLeod. Now, Bordeaux have got themselves possession around halfway. That one's gone over the top. Bounce pass now. Another offload. Jalabert wants that 50-22. Was it taken back? If it wasn't, it's a 50-22. But it might have been. Seems like the crowd are happy with it because they do believe the 50-22 is on. We're about to find out, though. They haven't shown the phase prior. Where's Rico out on the left wing? They just haven't gone to him. Will the French bring their best for the Nations Cup? Probably not. I'd say it'll be a little bit of a mix, seeing as there's still quite a few weeks left of the French top 14. I'm saying it's a joke. Get the game going. Rugby out fitness, not taking breaks for shoelaces. Says Finn. Yeah, although it's just modern rugby, isn't it? We're probably about 3 minutes of stoppage time outside of the hydration break. In total, looking at the clock compared with when this game started, which honestly isn't awful. It could be much worse. 22 says, I am nutty, so Leinster's ball. I think they ruled it as, was it taken back, or did they just lose the line out there, Bordeaux? I was looking away. One's gone into touch. Bordeaux will now have the line out, but it's a lot further back. Salisi Rayasi, one that got away from the New Zealand pipeline, wish he got a chance for the All Blacks, says him. Could Crusaders realistically make it 3 wins in a row against the top 3 sides? Theoretically, and if the Blues were to lose to the Chiefs, it would then mean that the Crusaders have a home game. No UBB try incoming. So, no, it wasn't a 50-22, or no, it was a 50-22. There might also be a spoiler thrown in there too for good measure. Maxime Luku goes away to the right-hand side. Jalabert. Tackle around the halfway line. Maxime Luku goes to Jalabert. Skip pass out wide. Good bump off there from Uberte right next to the sideline. Now Jalabert. Flat pass to his forwards. It's going to go phase after phase. Jalabert miles ahead of any other 10 in the world. Excellent player, both attack and kicking. Says Ben. Right, everyone's on side. Grubbing him on by Bordeaux. Awkward bouncing ball off by from Pinot, and Biel will score it between the posts. And he has not just got his normal one, he's got 2 now, which has become the new normal as well for that man. Biel crowd are happy with that one, as that is now what would be a bonus point, but of course, seeing as it's playoff rugby, it will not be, but it could be the winner for this Bordeaux side with only the 43 minutes remaining. Wow, says Studs Ray's running away with it, says Kyle there too. We're going to see it there. Because of the charge down, it made everyone onside. We have got the Hamish. Remember, I told you Bordeaux are a different class. I don't forget anything you ever say, Dennis, because Dennis knows best. But currently sitting 3 minutes remaining in this first half, and a nice easy kick for Maxime Luku from in front of the post, but Pinot getting that ball up. Potential spanking for Leinster here, says Cray. And again, right down the middle. 5 from 5 off the kick and tee for the 2 sides. We have got the Bordeaux play strong opponents during knockout, says Dennis. So my by 12 should become Bordeaux by 20. It's hiding. It's got like the pop-up little button for me, so I can't see what number it is with 20. Might be 27. I'm still waiting for it to move. 21. It was in the end. I saw a push on the ball. Collector, says Sven. It looks all over for Leinster now. Can't see them coming back from this, says Mike. That one's going to be kicked downfield now again. Good take from Mofana. Back to UBB win. But thought it'd be close until final 20 minutes. French top 14 isn't URC, says Dennis. You are correct, but you also said that the URC wasn't the Champions Cup. So I assume you're saying you can only make the comparison if it's a French team you're talking about rather than a URC team. Because the direct quote earlier on was URC is not Champions Cup. But you were saying about their form heading into this game in the Champions Cup, which is very much agreeable. And they are on a bit of a run at the moment, having close games in their top 14 competition. Their last two, 5 points their last win, 2 points the game prior. My prediction was 45-38. It's looking dismal, unless Leinster wake up. I think it's there again this year by the sounds of it. Cheers for the live updates off to bed. Want Leinster to win just for Rico. So here's MM. Now that ball's nicely taken again by Bordeaux. Maxime Luku. Tommy O'Brien, nice take from him. Yalbiere drives through the tackle after he got rid of it, and a little bit of afters there from O'Brien, who wasn't happy. The slightly late shot. Now Gibson Park goes away to the left-hand side. Chance for Leinster to get it moving. Here's Rico Ioane with a possession in hand. Easy to spot him with the blonde hair. Now Andrew Porter around the halfway line. It's all over bar the shouting, and there'll be plenty of it throughout the second half. Rico Ioane, low chopping tackle from Mofana. And come on, Bordeaux, says Italy. 1 minute remaining here on the clock. They haven't got themselves the penalty advantage. French Club Rugby League as the best. I assume that's mode or model. Once again, it's got that little marker there that I can't actually see it until it moves. Model was what it was. Oops. I wasn't supposed to click on that one. But I will F the Irish in the... Yeah, that's nice. And UBB is possibly the best team in Europe, says Chris Ace. Now currently 20 seconds remaining. We got it in the end. Bordeaux, 28-7. Is that Tame Funa? That man's leg in the background. It looked like it solid enough to be Tame Funa, but it may have actually been one of the other props. And we have got there, except if all countries follow the French league, I have a washed-up international scene, says Kyle. That is true. So it's kind of like a balancing act, isn't it? Oh, that's going to be not straight. Oh no, closing the gap goes against Bordeaux there, so Leinster do get themselves the free kick. They should do a promotion relegation in the URC, says how's it? Who would they promote though? James Gibson Park, just the free kick. Looks like an ankle injury here for Cameron Walker. He's telling them to hurry up and fix it. He wants to get back up to his feet to help his side defend. A little bit too upright in that challenge from Gazzotti. Now breaking the line almost for Leinster, but again, great tackle. Mofana and Jalabert. Someone's lost the best in Europe, says Ben. And also promote the Cheetahs, says Kyle. Although the Cheetahs have been taking part in the Challenge Cup without much success, unfortunately. So it's a bit of a tricky one. I feel like, yes, the Cheetahs do need tougher opposition, but I don't know whether they're going to get it in there. I think if they start doing well in like a Challenge or Champions Cup setting, then they might get the argument's sake. Oh, that one's going out wide. It was a deflection off their hand, so it's going to be picked back up by Leinster. About 45 metres out now. Oh, Wacky trying to go right through the middle with a breakdown. Gibson Park looks to the short side. Is it off to Clarkson? Short ball to O'Brien. Nice pass to McCarthy. Keeping the ball alive. 2 Bordeaux players right in that breakdown. They are lightning quick, like I mentioned earlier on, and this will be a lightning quick chase. Although, in fact, Leinster have given up on the chase, and Mofana off the intercept will score the 5th of the half for Bordeaux. And just like that, they will be up 35-7 heading into the second half. Its fans will blame Jacques, says Francisco. Leo Cullen is clueless, says Jack. And also Dan says, how is it? So if that fourth try wasn't the game, that one probably is there. Also, Leinster are completely taken apart, says all in the game. We have the ouch. And also a problem for URC teams. Leinster will take it out on all of them. URC playoff matches, but Bordeaux are too good in the ECC. And it did happen last year, didn't it? Leinster, they did lose their game of the Champions Cup playoffs. And then they went out absolutely firing and managed to get themselves that URC title. Now lining up this kick, Maxime Luku converts and adds the additional 2. And we have got there what's happening to the Irish Bloodhounds. Here's a danger man. So here's Ruth, and also there's a huge French poodle up at the parking lot. I had to go feed my snails and frogs. Meanwhile, 5th try for Bordeaux. Says Chris. I think Rico is wasted at the wing. He's a natural 13, says Robert. Well, this is another 50-pointer. Yeah, we've seen a lot of high-scoring games in recent times, haven't we? But now, half-time in this contest, we've already had 42 points. 35 points to 7. We have here, I think the Bulls are the only South African team who could actually win the URC this season. Also, you ruling out the Stormers. They got a handy enough squad. And we have here Leo Cullen is the biggest flop of a coach in Irish rugby. So here's Jack. And game over for Leinster, unfortunately. Could get really embarrassing for Leinster. I got a theory. France put something in the water. Their intensity is too much. It's just me. Yeah, well, they came out with a game plan. And they stuck with it. Their defence, I know that you can easily look at what the attack has done throughout that half, which is the 5 tries. But their defence on their goal line, I think, has been something that's been thoroughly impressive. Leinster have had about 6 handling errors. And also alongside that, those penalty advantages early on were starting to cost them a little bit. Leinster is reminding me of the Blues against the Hurricanes, giving away free tries. Yeah, they've leaked a few. Tim, what are you doing in about 50 minutes? We are going to have a guest on afterwards, so if you want to come in and join the party, do let me know. If you don't want to, that's all good too. It's all over for the shouting, or over but the shouting. Valencia says hardest and just tuned in. How very disappointing, says David. We got there. I hope South Africa goes back to Super Rugby. There you are, a bunch of stick up the butt. Oh, Sven's not happy. And Bordeaux play fast rugby. Suffocate opponents' quick passes. Fairly disappointing. But we're clearly the chasm between top 14 and the rest. And Hugo Keenan knock on from the first moment killed Leinster. Says Jack. Yeah, certainly didn't help. The Hugo Keenan charge down of the kick that became a 5-metre scrum, that didn't help them. But they have looked almost a little bit concerned about using their backline, Leinster. And maybe we've seen why. There was too much hesitancy in that play. And then Mofana, he said, hey, I'm already in your backline. Might as well take the ball off you and run half the field length to score. What's happening with Leinster? They need to win so they don't focus on the URC. Says Okara there. And also we have got there, just can't stop French flair. And also we have got there Leinster getting backside kicked with all their national players, says Johnny, and just tuned in who are the top try scorers. So far, Louis Bielbiere has scored 2. We have seen Mofana score, Pablo Uberti, and then also Maxime Luku. They are the 5 try scorers for Bordeaux. And then Leinster, it was Tommy O'Brien, who I did actually pick to score the first try in this game. Which I think now, I'm going to slightly toot my own trumpet because I always get predictions wrong. It's more impressive that Tommy O'Brien was correct because of the fact that that's the only try that Leinster have scored, and they scored it before any Bordeaux points. How many times did Leinster kick in the first half? I hate when they kick in rugby. Says hardest. And we have got there, it's been a fair few though, just to answer that one. Bordeaux forwards are more direct, making meters at will, says Stella. Heading to the gym right after the game, but appreciate the invitation, says Roby Hitch, no worries. And also we have there, even isn't happy. South African teams have no chance of winning the Champions Cup, says Warren. I'm not even mad as a Leinster fan. I'm used to being disappointed at this stage, says Barry. And bad selection by Cullen is deciding this one. So who would you say he selected wrong in this scenario? Henshaw should not be, although you did say from the start you wanted to see O'Brien in the 12. Osborne, wasn't it? Well, games next week, says Mohadeen. There is Super Rugby. There is URC quarterfinals as well. I guess I can say a little bit like I was saying last week, we are going to be doing some sort of little mini competition type setup. I'm still a little bit confused about it. There are some smarter people than myself who are doing some sort of setup of it, but it involves answering questions similar to predictions through their app or their website, I think it actually is, rather than an app. And then if you are top of the points, a little bit like Super Brew, top of the points, you'll win prizes. Real prizes too, the fun ones. Well, the fun ones sounds weird, but like merchandise and whatnot. But yeah, I still don't know how it works. I'll be honest, they're very smart people. They went to Auckland University, which is much more than I did, and they're going to set it up so that it hopefully works. I bet World Rugby and their greedy marketing ways. South Africa is not a lucrative market, so they are favouring teams like England, France, and Ireland to make more money from world champions. So, wait, no, I'm confused. The Lions actually have a chance of beating Leinster now, says Onkara. And did Ulster score first last night? Just makes the French teams angry. I would have had Osborne at 12, Sam Prendergast on the bench. Doris says Impact sub Conan at 8. I thought Bordeaux would be 2 scores better than Leinster. Guess I was wrong. There was a moment where they were 2 scores up, but then from there it all went downhill. Is about how I would describe it. We have got there. Who do you think will be the final 4 in the English Prem? I'm actually a little bit undecided. I do like what they do in the Prem, though, how they have all the games on at the same time for the last round. Just to add a bit more spice and have sides not really knowing what they need to do to be able to get that boost. 1 second. They've got 2 rounds left. It's probably... Well, to be fair, it's a 6-horse race, isn't it? You got your top 3 who I think will stay top 3. It's just Exeter, Saracens, and Bristol. I wouldn't completely rule out Bristol. Well, no, they just had an absolute shocker, didn't they? Saracens have Harlequins. Then they play Exeter. Maybe Saracens might sneak in. 2 scores per player, better. Now we have there Leo Cullen approach the modern day rugby as an aligned to what Leinster need. Also, what do you think about the possible Rico selection for the All Blacks? Does he still pip the young guns? Or is his time running out? I think he'll still get in, to be honest. Like, Rennie will want some sort of experience, and also they're basing it off, well, he said he's basing it off form, and then he brought in Graham Henry, who may say, look, you need a few of those older guys still in the environment. And Rico's not even that old, is he, when you think about it? Matthew Jalibert is world class. Yeah, controlled this game very nicely. 7's next week. It is as well. Do you think the URC will have an All-South African final? No. I think we're more than likely going to see one side, though, as every single URC final we have had so far since the competition started has involved a South African side. And 7 points to 35 if this could get ugly. Yeah, it's already pretty ugly, to be fair. But theoretically, it can still get worse. So that's something to wait and see. They ping the fattest prop for performance enhancing yet a week before the whole Georgian team got busted for steroids. Wait, so what do you mean? Because if both guys got pinged, then I'm confused at what the problem. You're saying that they shouldn't have pinged the South African prop? Is that the argument? We have got there Nora getting some ads on the stream tonight. I hope you're making some pingers, says Thuds Race. Lots of these Leinster players have massively bottled it. Harry Byrne, Hugo Kennan, Gibson Park, says Jack. Well, Gibson Park hasn't been as quick at the breakdown, I don't think, as we're used to seeing. I don't know whether or not that's just me. Luku is so underrated. Absolutely. There was that time when DuPont was injured that Luku still didn't get the recognition he deserved. Like, honestly, that man is going to be one of those players that forever... I'm trying to think of what a good comparison is. Oops, I kicked the light. What would it be? Who's a player who was really good but just in the wrong era? I feel like that's Maxime Lucu. Like, because he's phenomenal for Bordeaux. Plays well for France. I told you, Hamish. Says Splash TV. Would you have any English players in the Kiwi team? Freeman or Lawrence wouldn't be bad for us at 13 if we had a little pick, maybe. I wouldn't mind either of those two in the environment. Just showing the try there from Bielbira. He just strike through everyone. Aluku can be compared to Ambrose Papier, says Onkara. Yeah, although Papier hasn't really had much international, has he? Luku snuck a few games in there. Rasi has called up the Bordeaux number 3 for the box squad. Says Francisco, and good day from Jacksonville, Florida. And thank you for the coverage, Hamish and the Kiwi lads. And also, how about the Willis Bros? Yeah, to be fair, one of them would be all right, wouldn't they? Like, of course, we wouldn't want to be greedy. We wouldn't take both. We would take one, though, if they're on the cards. Matthew Jalibert is playing very well this year. Says Salah as a 1 versus 6, 2 versus 5, 3 versus 4 in the semi-finals, or am I wrong? You're talking Super Rugby? You are correct, yes. And the lucky loser, which is the highest rated guy in terms of, or the highest rated team that loses, gets to stay in. So theoretically, if all the favourites win, 4th ranked team gets to stay for the semis. Not Henry Slade at 13. Don't know, I was thinking more down the line a little bit further. So Slade for me is, like, if it was right this moment, I was thinking like they have to wait the 3 years for the eligibility situation. But then I guess theoretically they're not actually Kiwi, so they can't actually do that anyway. But that was kind of my thinking, which is where Freeman or someone came in, because he would still be young enough after those 3 years to go in. Cullen isn't a great manager. There's Anti Doofus. And also Marty Holler. I was underrated, says Time Till Death. Kristen Cullen, says Ruth. Here's Cullen out. I said this almost 3 years. And Cullen is the definition of job for the boys. He simply is not up to the standard of world-class coach. And an neighbour is not fit to Leinster. He should come back to South Africa. 5 years now. Oh, yeah, I guess it depends on the country, doesn't it? Some countries still do 3, I believe. Some do 5. Leinster needed a down in the dirt fight, says Admol. Yeah, they're going to need a bit of fight in the second half, I can tell you that right now. Because this one is way more one-sided than people would have liked to see. What year did the URC start? 2021-22, I believe, was the first year. We've had 5 champions, I think. We've had the first year Stormers. There's been Munster, Leinster, Glasgow. It might be all. Maybe we only have 4. There must have been 2022-23 maybe. Unless I just can't math, which could be the case. It is currently almost 3 a.m. Leinster looking relieved to be losing, says Michael. That was a very long drink and it went very silent. Like that. Renald is in there too. I recognised the word France. And a smiley face. That's a universal thing too. Unless they don't have the players anymore, says Anti Doofus. The Sharks ever in the URC final? No. Lions haven't been in one either. The first ever year was actually Bulls versus Stormers. The URC. If Leinster had a Sexton type player in this team, I would say game over, but they don't. It's game over and luck for Bordeaux was on their side today, says Jack. Bordeaux have too much class, says Ruth in there as well. But the second half, I would say, it's probably only, I want to say 3 minutes away from starting. One of the other games tonight and today, Hamish, none. This is actually the last one, believe it or not. It's been a quiet weekend in terms of stream-wise. I think I've only done 2 streams. We had Haino do one on the Friday night as well, but yeah, only 3 streams for the weekend. But then that makes up, or I guess it evens out, because next weekend we're going to have about 25 streams. Who do you think is the quickest player you've ever seen on the pitch? Says Marley. I mean, any sort of like old school clip of Habana just shows him, he gone. That was me, as in he was going past there. But I would say that, it depends, because it also comes down to the height of the player a little bit. If Cheslin Colby was a guy who was like 6'2" and could run as quick as he does with his legs, he'd be zooming. And he's still quick even though he doesn't stand at 6'2". Bro got sponsored by a drinking water company. Sadly not. But one day, well, I guess water's one of those weird ones, because it's like you can just buy any water in a way. Maybe we need like a fancy water or something. It's all these Kiwis that have effed up the Leinster teams. There's Andy Doofus. All these Kiwis. So what, just Ioane? Or you're saying about the guys like Gibson Park and whatnot? We have there what is in the water. Is it clean or is there something in it? Just kidding, says Artist. No, it's good old clean stuff. I got to drive in like, what's the maths? I can't think of the maths. Maybe like 7 hours, so can't be doing nothing more than water. Nice kickoff from Bordeaux deep into Leinster's 22. And it's going to be there put into touch. In 4 or 5 years, beep, beep. I'll be the record holder for the most international tries, says Glenn Daly. And also we have got, the Root brothers, which is surely your loss in England's game, says Warren there. And it's Cullen, says Epscott. A line out through here for Limouth. And a winger that can get an outside break on another winger is very rare, says Fenn. Oh, stole. Oh, that was, I think there was an accident from Luku, but he kind of dragged Joe McCarthy down by his collar and his mullet from the back. But now backline movement, BRA rushing up to get onto Hugo Keenan. Now Luku once more. Oh, that was poor from Leinster. Not on the same page at the moment. It's another knock on. And game starting again, says Ivan. He certainly has 41 minutes through at the moment. No Leinster have the homegrown talent, says Michael there. And Jaco Reinhardt, one of the quickest, father of Kobus. He was a 400-metre track. Oh, yeah, nah, Luku. I don't think he meant to grab his hair and tug it. But it happened. He pulled me hair. Oh, that was a terrible Irish accent. I'm sucking at accent nowadays. Oh, they're going to check this. I can't do an Irish accent. Definitely not saying he pulled my hair, sir. But that's what they're checking. Any changes? Not that I've seen. Right, it's Maxime Luku who has pulled the hair. Could you say he did it out of jealousy? Probably not. But it is a mullet and a half for Joe McCarthy. It does go down around the old shirt, but we're going to see the replay now. Yeah, so he gets the shirt, but then also a bit of the mullet comes with it because of the long hair. Serge Blanco, I must have been one of the fastest. Gives him back Bundyaki, James Lowe. Without them, Ireland wouldn't be close to where they are. Oh, what? Yeah, how's that? That's a yellow card for Maxime Luku. They literally described it as he went for the collar and caught a little bit of the hair. But yeah, Luku's off the field for 10 minutes here. That's... Okay, the commentators are ripping into them a little bit here. They're saying, what's he supposed to do? Put his hair to the side and then grab his shirt. But, yeah, 10 minutes off the field. Leinster with the penalty. I think we're going to see a lot more players getting along here in the near future if that's the type of penalty that can be won. Adam Coleman has made his way off of the field. And Lockie Swinton comes on. He's a man who had a good old start to his Super Rugby career. Loose ball picked up eventually by Dan Sheehan. Outrageous, never seen such a stupid card, says Neo there. And that's a shocker, says Fleshin. And Cole, on why yellow card, Luku pulled his shirt. Says Young, now ball on the outside. Big fin from Cone, and he's driven into touch by the Bordeaux defence. We have there both finals quite high scoring, says Mohammed. Just showing it there again. Oh, actually, to be fair, Cameron Waukee has knocked that ball on at the line out. And splitting hairs, says Neo there, and Leinster need this. Right, we've got another double blow of the whistle here, ladies and gents. Oh no, they're happy. It is going to be the line out now. Crazy that Tamefuna is still playing. And the thing is, not only is he still playing, but he's playing well. And that's something like, as a player gets older, sometimes, you see the form drop off, but he's still the same tank that he was 10 years ago, being Tamefuna. Now, Jalabeur will just go for the kick downfield. Of course, they haven't got their halfback at the moment. Little bit of a slip there for Rico Ioane, but all that's done is get him this massive piercing run up the middle of the field. I was going to say a stop-start, but then a stop-start would mean that he was a little bit slower, but he was quick with the acceleration there, Ioane. Now Gizem Park off to the left-hand side. Now moving it on. Andrew Porter, big shot on him by Palu. Leinster struggled to score against 14s. He's been, they've only been doing it for about a minute and a half. But now ball on the outside. Rico Ioane. Again, big collision. Mo Fana's been immaculate on defence this game. He's been absolutely everywhere. And Porter, again, no space to work with as Palu drags him down. Now moving off to the left-hand side. O'Brien, two-man tackle on him. Timo feels game too one-sided, says Joe. Leo Cullen should be sacked. And can you watch this on Sky Sports? Sadly not. It's on EPCR TV, which is our option here in New Zealand. That look forward from Gibson Park, so they'll go back for the penalty advantage. Leinster, there's a bit of urgency in the way that they're playing at the moment. They almost look like they're rushing along. 3 and 10, 2 more changes are being made here. It looks like Tyke Furlong and also Kieran Frawley be the two men making their way on. So Burns done for the day. Same with Thomas Clarkson. See Sam Prendergast watching on. He would have loved to be in the 23 for this game. Burn is too slow. Prendergast would have done better, says Short. So where does Frawley rank in there? Ideally, they got nothing on Mofana, says Mohammed. I think Frawley's kind of a mixture of both, and he kind of the in-between of the two Leinster teams. Now rolling more here for Leinster. This one's moving nicely too. Still rolling forward, but Waukee trying to shut it down. There's an advantage. He's dragged it down illegally there. This could be another yellow card for Bordeaux. It's going to be against, actually, Gazzotti was the man who collapsed that they have ruled. Still 4 metres out. Pick and go. Sheehan chopped down. Still just 1 metre at a time. McCarthy, he jumped over the tackle. You're not really supposed to do that, but it is going to be awarded. And Joe McCarthy does get the try. Did Carl Dixon just... I think Bordeaux tried to say that he jumped over, and I think I heard Carl Dixon say penalty try, so... Maybe he said, like, we can go back, but you're getting a penalty try yellow card if we do review it, potentially. But it's 35-12. They have now scored in the start of the second half here, Leinster, and they still have a man advantage for the next 6 minutes. Oh, it's at the post for Frawley, his first kick of the day, and it's actually the first missed kick of this final. Zeeberg of the Lions is out for 6 months. I didn't. That's a shame, though, because he's been in great form. Morne Funenberg probably was going to be in the Bok environment too. How is that a try? Yeah, you're not allowed to jump over a player, but they can technically. It's a weird one. Depends on how the TMO see it, because they say you're allowed to dive at the line, but you're not allowed to jump at the line while there's a man in front of you. So it's another one of those technicalities. We saw Tupavai score a try similar to that earlier on in the Super Rugby Pacific season. I've seen a few players try the old hurdle technique throughout the times too, but Leinster have got themselves the first try of both halves. Adam Ramwan, England's fastest player. Now line out here for Lamoth. Some speedy wingers in that Gallagher Premiership, isn't there? The move. Throws it in again. 4.5 minutes remain. Oh, again looking to get this rolling maul going forward for Bordeaux. Are we over there running jump before the tackle or get tackled then jump? Says Sven. Oh, and that one's unplayable for Bordeaux. Ball got stuck in there. Uh-oh. Someone's lying starfished on the ground. I almost knocked something over there. Manny is faster than Ramwan. And Cullen was quick. I would like to say, or would you say Leo Cullen should be replaced? He had plenty of chances, says James. I have kind of gotten past the stage of replacing coaches. In terms of, because I think some coaches potentially aren't the right men for the jobs, but at the same time, we've also seen times where a coach, the likes of like the All Blacks situation, right? People were sacking Rennie. Rennie hasn't even selected a squad or coached one game for the All Blacks. People already want him gone. So I think it depends on the coach, but I wouldn't want to be the one making the decision, to be honest. Okay, Caelan Doris just having a bit of a conversation there. He's jumping in an attempt to score the try, says Glenn Daly. So yeah, you're allowed to dive at the line to score, but you're not allowed to jump in an upwards trajectory over a player. Is the technicality they call it. Once again, that one's one that they could have easily gone either way with. We've seen them disallowed for the same thing. We've seen them ruled as tries for the same thing. But it depends on what law they're looking at for the day. Now, ball goes in to the scrum of Leinster. It's a good, solid push too. They get themselves the penalty advantage there. Now, Robbie Henshaw passes on the outside. Frawley delays his pass, gives it to Ioane. A bit high on him by Pinot. Did they ever get the evidence of the spitting of the Lions player? I haven't actually seen anything about it, to be honest. A Ringrose going in, big shot on O'Brien. Now back across here. Leinster starting to find a little bit of rhythm on the attack, but this is where Bordeaux is so good at getting that big steal. Frawley getting a couple extra meters too. Doris plays half. Ioane slings the pass on the outside of Dan Sheehan, optimistically running close to the touchline, but he has cut back in and managed to stay in the field of play. Doris tackled inside of the 22. Gibson Park across to Frawley. Still a man advantage in space on the right-hand side here for Leinster. Josh van der Fleur's knocked that ball on. And it's another handling error for this Leinster side. I think Razor would do a great job with Leinster. Here's James. Leinster need to lead by 14 before Big Ben, 150 kg, comes on, says Ben. And they're off their feet at almost every ruck. Which team, Bordeaux or Leinster? Leo Cullen and Leinster have been the most consistent team in Europe. Unfortunately, France rotates their teams where at least one seems to be world class at any given year. You can just see the frustration on the face of the Leinster players. Here he is, Big Ben Tamefuna, now making his way on. It is for Carlos Sadie. It's the deceptive quickness of a player like Ben Tamefuna, and often the scrum does not go backwards. When that man's on the field, we have got the Leinster missing Argen Geordie. Another break, says Sven. So they did have the subs. They did take a player off the field for the French. I think it was Carlos Sadie. I want to say he didn't go off with an injury, but it seemed like he was walking alongside one of the medics. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Also do see Jefferson Pureau. He's made his way off too. Maxime Luku, the captain, waiting patiently for his 2 minutes 15 to expire. So that means that Jalabert will still be playing on. I can see Razor going in to something like Portugal, Georgia as a coach for the World Cup. See his question. It'll be intriguing to see where he ends up, whether or not he still wants a head coach role or he's got that stand down period. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him assistant coaching or some sort of connection to the English heading into that World Cup competition. It's like another change is about to be made. Any other player juggle better than Tom Hooper, says Warren. Or can any other player juggle better than Tom Hooper? He's a big talent for the Aussies too. He's probably one of those main guys as to why they're very happy with their eligibility, the way that it is at the moment for the Wallabies. Now backline movement, Frawley, good hands, goes to Tommy O'Brien. He throws a rough one, and Salisi Reyasi with the interception. It's a last pass that had it gone into the hands, it could have been the try for Leinster, but now seems like Bordeaux have got that counter-attack. Now Jalabert going away to the left-hand side. Moefana moves it on now to Palu. Drawing pass, beautifully done. Waki now cutting inwards. And he has knocked the ball on, and he's also hurt his knee. Cameron Waki. I've been saying that for 2 years. Ronan O'Gara overdue. Uh-oh. This is not good for Waki. He is slapping the ground in pure pain. Raise assistant coach at La Rochelle with Ronan O'Gara reunion. Maybe. What are your thoughts on the new teams in the next World Cup? I'm happy to see that they've extended it, although it does mean that we're going to get a lot of one-sided games. But it's one of those kind of the tricky ones of you want to get everyone in that you can, but then at the same time, I feel like they should have just gone to 32 teams. Because then that way you just have groups, because I think it comes down to them not wanting teams to play too many matches, but you go 32 teams, you go groups of 4, nice and easy, because then this whole third place team goes through is a bit of a tricky one. They're just saying there it's a really bad injury for Cameron Waki. This might be a season ender for that man, which would be a massive shame as he has been a really handy player for Bordeaux. Losing like winning becomes a habit. And Exeter Chiefs Tom Hooper, and Tom Hooper loves the Exeter Chiefs. And also, why are people calling for the new AB's coach to be sacked already? Just because they don't like some coach. It's all to do with where the coach has been before. It's also if they had a guy that they wanted to get the role instead. Like some people straight away, it's the same as players as well. If the guy that certain people do want to get selected doesn't, straight away that makes them have pure hatred towards the guy who did get selected. And that's the kind of way that somehow the brain works for some reason, which it shouldn't. Like at the end of the day, these guys are all professional athletes and there will be opportunities. You would think whose ball, says Mohadeen. There was a knock-on from Waki, so it will be the ball of Leinster. Around the halfway line. But yeah, Waki is in a lot of pain. He's at least walking on that leg though, which is something, although assisted at that. Now big scrum. Both front rows going up. No advantage in play for Leinster. Tommy O'Brien. Still the left-hand side again. Hugo Keenan with a rear run from this game. Osborne should have started, says Michael. Now away to the right. I have to say, Frawley's made an impact since making his way onto the field. It seems like he's kind of up the tempo again, trying to kick him behind from O'Brien. Different tactics on attack here, but it has deflected off a Bordeaux player, so it does go into touch. Maxime Luku now. This way back out onto the field, and there is a massive cheer from the crowd. And like they are saying, if it wasn't clear already which side does have the more support in this stadium, the roar that the captain of Bordeaux, Maxime Luku, got for coming back out onto the field was probably louder than we got to hear for Leinster's try. I think there should be a World Cup second division. I can see that some of these games would be no value to the big teams, great exposure, and no one learns anything from the 100 points plus scoreline, which I think is where I do like what they're doing now in terms of they've got the Nations Championship and they've got the Nations Challenge, I think it's called, or something along those lines. How the outside of the top 12 teams from the World Cup play each other as well in a similar tournament to what we see for the top sides. So there are going to be some great matches taking place throughout July as well as November for those lower ranked sides. Nice run here from Frawley. Again, big impact since that man's made his way on. Gibson Park goes across to Andrew Porter. And a good challenge from Matthew. Pick and go. Uh-oh, Ben Tamefuna straight on the ball, but he's lost the footing in the end. Although I think they're going to rule this as a turnover. Yes, they are. And Maxime Luku will be able to kick it downfield and also into touch. That is a phenomenal strike from the man who was fresh as after just making his way from the sin bin. I'm from Durban. Here's goal story. And also Maxime Luku back. Yes, and he's just had a big impact there too. But Ben Tamefuna also having a great impact since making his way off of the bench. Let's see if they can stay on their feet at the ruck this time. Says Sven and also wherever they do. I see Khaleesi, I do. It'll be interesting to see what he does at the Stormers just because of the fact that they already have Ruiz, De Villiers, and also Ben Jason Dixon. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who goes into the bench role out of those three men. Or if Khaleesi is just going to be used as the bench man. Sheehan is off the field. That is for Kelleher. Slapped back by Bordeaux. Doris, he's tried for the turnover there. He's had 3 Bordeaux players just get all over him. Kick downfield. It's just how quick Bordeaux are to those breakdowns. How's Dion Fourie? I don't actually know what the extent of his injury is. It's only a 3-hour drive from Bordeaux. How far is it from Dublin? I guess we've also got to remember for Leinster too, they have that quarterfinal around the corner at the Aviva. So if people were making a choice of which one to go to, that might be the one that they look at. There's a big long yawn, by the way. 3-hour flight. Okay, so a bit more travel. Now line out, not very straight there, but it was actually not straight in the opposite direction. So instead would have had more of a crack of being able to grab it. Wait to the left-hand side again. Hamish, I'm a third Wales. Third Welsh, I assume you're saying there. Box kick from Bordeaux. Rico Ioane takes it nicely. Matthew lined him up early. Gives him back. Inside of their own 22 again here, Leinster. Doesn't seem like running it out will be the best option, although trying potentially go 1 or 2 more phases here. A lot longer as you have some sea in the way of your drive. That'll do it. Leinster are basically Ireland, won't win. UBB too strong in every department, says Stuart Lee. Also, no Wales says, cool story, that one hasn't found touch from Jameson Gibson Park. Now, Jalabert. Haven't seen Bordeaux score themselves a try in the second half as of yet for the first 15 minutes. Take from Frawley. I think it's fair Ulster got beaten. They were good to get the final, but it is a one step too far. How's the scrum battle? We saw early on Bordeaux seemed to get a little bit of an edge, but then Leinster actually brought it back for themselves. But now that Tamefuna's on, scrums, I don't think we're going to see too many going against Bordeaux. They have got the heavier pack too. And that was before Tamefuna was on. Rico Ioane trying to slap it back onto the side of the Leinsterman. Now Tamefuna, he knocks it back onto the side of Bordeaux. Accidental offside as the call though, so it will be Leinster's scrum feed. And Jollibee, big favourite in the Philippines. Rico in the mix with the All Blacks, big fan of him. I think just going through rough patch at the AB, says user. I think for some reason, I just feel like Graham Henry will put him in. Because at the moment, the 13s for them, for instance, they've got Billy Proctor. They've just said there that it's gone backwards, but they said it was accidental offside. Okay, that's interesting. So it's a scrum now for Bordeaux because Ben Tamefuna didn't knock it on, but that doesn't change the fact that he was in front. Unless they've also said that didn't happen either. But scrum feed here for Bordeaux. Khaleesi at the Stormers. And then they ignore any of the other box. Will play many club matches considering it's a World Cup year. Joins in to finish a career where he started. Says Scatu there. Yeah, I don't see him get a massive minutes. Because at the end of the day, if he's going to get to that World Cup under Rassi, he will... I think he'd hardly play 50% of the games, maybe even less. I'm running out of teeth. Thanks for your commentary, says Cool Story. I think it's fair. Oh no, I read that one about the Ulster side. Now scrum. It's the feed for Bordeaux. It's gone straight down on this near side between Tamefuna and Porter. Now Jalabert, draw and pass out to Pablo Uberti. Leinster can't get it right even with the officials helping, says Neo. Although that one went against Leinster, that scrum one, if you're referencing that one. Now Maxime Luku on the way to the right-hand side. Didn't know he placed the ball, so it will be play on there. There's a cool, nice run. That looked like Boucheton. I think he's made his way back on due to the Wacky injury. Actually went off very early in the game. Who scored the tries for Leinster, and how many did Louis Bielbiere score? So he's got 2 so far. And the tries for Leinster were O'Brien, and then also... Oh, that was close to the turnover and the breakdown. Not quite able to get it. Other try for... Leinster was Hugo Keenan, I think. We'll go with that anyway until I get corrected. I ended on that yellow. Had a bit of impact, says Neo. Both 12s, but Tapia and Geordie in the centres would be insane, says User. Yeah, well, Tapia showed his, I guess, skill in the fact that he can play both. Even out of position at 13, he was still very impressive for the ABs. Coach doing some stretching here. I don't think he's going to make himself go out onto the field as of yet. They're actually opting for the 3 points here, Bordeaux. This is to just extend that lead that little bit more. Luku's had a phenomenal day off of the tee. And that one has gone over. Right. It's 59 minutes, 20 seconds. I think that this might be when we've got the cooling break and the hydration break. Yes, it is. That'll be 3 minutes worth where the players do get a bit of refreshment. Only Leinster, they are down by 26. How long penalty advantage elapse? Depends on the meters that they make, as well as whether or not the referee feels they've had a fair chance of getting past that advantage. Here, ball and high tackle. Says, I am nutty there. And we have the Amish man of the match, Louis Bielbiere Moefana. Believe it or not, and I know that this one will get me in trouble, I'd give it to Moefana. I think that what that man has done in the midfield, defensively and on attack, has been incredible throughout this game. Now, realistically, they'll give it to Bielbiere because he scored twice. Luku would have been in with a very good shot had he not got his yellow card. They may even still consider him, though, even with that yellow to his name. We have got there, do you think Luku makes a good argument to start ahead of Dupont for France this year? Or is Dupont just Dupont? Well, we talked about it earlier on. Luku's a very unfortunate player because he's just in the wrong era of French rugby. Because I think that Luku is an absolutely phenomenal talent. And we saw that when Dupont was missing. When he was injured and also when he was away with the Olympic side of things. We did get to see Maxime Luku show what he could do, and I think he's only got better since then as well, which is pretty awesome. We have got their box aligning well for 2026, enough yet to field a different competitive match day 23 for 3 weeks in a row. No reason to fear losing the lead up to Rugby World Cup 2027, and Rusty we trust, says Stewart. And that's why Sam Preticast should have been on the bench. The game seems to be running away now. Leinster coaching staff need to change the momentum somehow, otherwise this is an indictment on what they, or why they have targeted both competitions. Did I say that word? Is it an indictment? It is, isn't it? And pretty French teams don't play or like scrums, or we would have, or love to see a Porter be folded like a deck chair. It is kicked off now by Leinster. We are back underway after the hydration break. Gibson Park away to the left-hand side. If Leinster want a chance, they have to start scoring. They need 4 converted tries to take the lead. 4 tries, 3 converted to take us to maybe a golden point situation, or more so extra time, I should say. They've only got 20 minutes to do. Maybe it's a good thing. Knows how every team made the final, says cool story. I think he pairs better with Jalabert than Dupont does with him, and Jalabert is the best fly half in France. Yes, that's true. You're looking at combinations. It would make a bit of sense, but it would be weird to see Dupont off the bench, wouldn't it? But then at the same time, maybe it wouldn't go too badly. For the steal again in the breakdown, that was the attempt from Matthew. Hamish, what do you think? Oh, no, hang on. We'll come back to that in a second. Osborne has made his way on the field. Tamefuna again in the breakdown wins the penalty for his side. And what would you do if you were Leinster's coach at this point? Give up the game and start planning for the URC? Says Skatu. Well, I don't think any coach would have that mindset in a game scenario. Like, is it going wrong at the moment for Leinster? Absolutely. But are you going to just give up halfway through a game? No, you're going to look at what the little positives are that you can find from this game heading into your quarterfinal next week. Whether or not it's just a one big moment or something clicking in terms of your structure or some little thing that will just give them something to look at. And I think that they have done some things good today, Leinster's scoreboard looks rough, of course, but they've done some things that they can build upon heading into their game next week up against the Lions. Radio bedtime for this one. 9-9 Hamish and all starts race. So yeah, we will see you probably next week. When's the next game? Next Friday, I believe, is going to be the next game that we have got coming up. Or actually, might do State of Origin on Wednesday next week. We'll see what's happening. Now, right-hand side chance again here for Bordeaux. They have not scored a try in the second half. But I don't think that's going to be the case for long. Tackle made by Ioane Luku off to Jalabert. Now Rayasi offload back up to Biel. BRA just has a bit of a slip there before Ioane takes him down. Hamish must be banned on YouTube. Why, Mohadeen? Does it involve, like, is it paid leave or is it just no paid leave? To be fair, not that different in terms of paid and not paid. In terms of the channel's budget. Now, Gibson Park. It's either the 22. Boom, boom. Come on, Bordeaux, no Leinster. Says Michael. And thanks, Hamish. I'll say Louis BLBRA, but my father is neck and neck with him, says Ruth. Told to use it there again, Gibson Park. You can hear the Bordeaux chants as well through the stands. Now Maxime Luku retreating here, but we'll go into touch. He'll be happy with that kick that he's seen from Gibson Park there. Distance-wise, I think that both men had a really good start. And then from there, Gibson Park slightly dropped off a bit. Coach Hamish, why would you wear out your best players for a lost cause? Why not take them out now? Save them for the next few games, says Skatu. Well, they've pretty much made their subs. So they've made the switches that they can, with the exception of maybe Luke McGrath. I think he's about the last guy. Or maybe Max Deegan, I don't think's gone on yet. But you can only make so many subs. But at the same time, like, yeah. If your team's out there, they're out there to play the 80 minutes. You're not out there to just collect a paycheck and wait for the game to be over. So, for these guys, once again, as a player, you know, you're going to look to see whether or not you can give yourself some sort of momentum. A few of the boys for Leinster, they've dropped the ball a lot today, so they'll just look to try and hang on to it. But, yeah, if you're already getting a hiding and you decide, you know what, we give up. Like, you're just going to get absolutely battered by the other team, even worse. So, you got to at least try. Oh, advantage kicking the ball. That's a new one. And we have got there, the commentators are already talking about the Lions now. It's cool story. That will be the penalty, though, awarded to Bordeaux. That's for Josh van der Fleer kicking the ball in the breakdown. Coming into 2026, Luku along with Reinhard Williams and the AB's Cam. The scrummies alongside DuPont. Who will determine the nation's championship, says Stuart Lee. Right, Hugo Keenan. He makes his way off. My money's on Bordeaux. Come on, Bordeaux. Oh, okay. Hugo Keenan's going off for a head injury assessment here. So that brings Robbie Henshaw back out onto the park. Retier is on game over. And it sounds like Maxime Luku is considering the kick at the 3 points. And again, it just uses up the clock. It extends the lead if it goes over or when it goes over with how he's been kicking so far. Are we over there if the Lions beat Leinster next weekend? We're not here the end of coaching decisions, says Scatu. I think if the Lions beat Leinster next week, if Leinster beat the Lions next week as well, though, I think both sides are going to be definitely talking big. Like, the thing is, you get into playoff rugby, no one's happy in reality. The only side that's happy is the side that win the whole thing. So you've got 7 sides in the URC over the next 3 weeks who are going to sack or call to sack their coach. They're going to have fans that will become unbearable because people get quite sore loser-ish in the big games. But realistically, one side will be happy at the end of the 3 weeks. And even they will have their coach probably called to be sacked, depending on who it is, if his name's Leo Cullen. So, yeah, you can't win as a coach. So you might as well do to your best of your ability whatever your plan was. Try and execute it. But, yeah, you can't go changing it halfway through to a tactic of, oh, well, we'll run away now. You might as well wave the white flag if you're doing that, and you shouldn't be out there. Maxime Luku going away to the left-hand side to Mathieu Jalabert. This will be a chance, although the ball just sneaks into touch there for Louis Bielbiaré. What wrong with Leinster? Handling hurt them today, as well as a few early advantages against them for the offside. They've actually improved that a lot throughout the rest of the contest. The Lions are licking their chops. Well, realistically, they need Leinster to be into that game a bit out of form. Last time that they played at the Aviva, they lost by about 28 points there. So they need Leinster to be hurting, and they need Leinster to play like this next week too. But whether or not Leinster do, whole different story. Now going away to the left-hand side here. Wide cut-out pass to Rico Ioane running down the wing. Isn't that a lot of the ball? In fact, neither of the wingers really. O'Brien's been solid, but he just hasn't had the position enough. The trophy staying in Bordeaux, says Young here, back-to-back. Doesn't happen too often in the Champions Cup, but some sides do reach that really nice vein of form. Exeter Chiefs for the Champions win in 2027. Don't know. We'll wait and see. They were in the Challenge Cup this year, weren't they? Another knock-on from Leinster, so those hands are still not quite connecting. A good kick downfield from Pinot. Bordeaux have taken control in terms of territory now. They're using up the time, doing what they need to just get into that scenario where they can call it a day, lift the trophy, and get ready for their next game. Oh, tackle off the ball. Penalty goes the way of Leinster. They have had the TMO check it. And, yeah, Pinot makes that tackle on O'Brien. Just a little bit too early. The Lions don't travel that well, do they? Not really. I looked through at their recent games. I think they've won 1 away from home. I was fighting with an Irish troll on Facebook yesterday. Straight away, as soon as I see the word Facebook, that's when you know that the trouble will start. Facebook's bad nowadays in terms of angry people. A lot after the Ulster loss. I predicted the same for this game. Louis Bielbiaré hat-trick. Hopefully he gets it. Ready to rub it in his face. Says Gallo. I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't actually believe in the Lions. This may help reduce the margin or do the opposite, says Goal Story. Now, Leinster, of course, they would need 4 converted tries and something to go on to win this game. 12 minutes remaining. It has been far from a close game between these two teams. Frawley pops it on to the right. Now pick and go from Gibson Park. Frawley again, the good tackle. Oh, straight on it. That was close to the steal. In fact, they have managed to get it their Bordeaux big game for Leinster next week against Lions in the URC. Here's Anthony. Oh no, sorry. Penalty goes the way of Leinster. So initially managed to get the steal, they have said, but then went off his feet when he tried to play it. But now they're checking for foul play. Bordeaux 16. This will be Barlow, who could be in a little bit of trouble here. Of course, the last thing that they want in this scenario is some sort of suspension. They should be missing for those important last games of the top 14 for the Bordeaux side. While we are at it, we might as well show you what is next for Bordeaux. They have got Toulon just next week, and then after that, they have got Clermont. And then from there, the quarterfinals or the playoff games. There's a slight lift, but there is also a player underneath them. I said there, he rolls over Mofana. It's a bit of a lifting action. I don't think this is going to be anything too serious. For anyone wondering about when Leinster play up against the Lions, that is going to be the 7 a.m. game. And I will mention, be sure to tune in for that one, because that is one of the streams that we are potentially, well, I think it's all but confirmed that it is going to be a stream with that prediction side of things, where you can actually win a prize, believe it or not. Here, pulling penalty by the ref. With the comb over, as always, sus. Says, I am nutty, and this overlap for tournaments is a bit odd to me. Says, cool story. Leinster will be hurting after today's fiasco. Lions beware of Leinster's retaliation. Yeah, they're either going to come out absolutely smashing next week, or they're going to once again struggle. They're talking about the heat out there on the field as well. How much did you pay the referee? Says Mohadeen. Not that I know of. Now, rolling ball here. Play back underway after quite a lengthy stoppage. 5 metres out from the line. Gibson Park looking for that ball in the breakdown or in that maul, and has managed to pull it out the back. Big collision, bit of a miscommunication from Leinster's backs. Cross kick here from Frawley. Out to Ioane. It goes into touch on the full. It's a bit too much on it. Are you going to comment on the game being played? I assume that was during the time where there was the stoppage and nothing was happening. But yeah, they were just waiting to get the players all sorted out. There's a few guys who are really struggling out there in the heat in Spain for this contest. We've already had our 2 hydration breaks. That one just going over the head of Ioane out wide. 10 minutes now remaining on the clock. Frawley has had an impact. He's making his way on, but hasn't quite been enough. Well, it is hot here in Spain, says Warren. Jalibert will make his way off the field now. That is for Royce. It's all over, but the shouting trophy is in the bag for Bordeaux, says Hardis. It's got to be a great feeling too, to give the trophy back at the start of the game, and then after that, get to take it straight back home with you. Where's the Sevens next week? It is going to be in, I think is it Valladolid? No, we've already had Valladolid. Or have we had Valladolid? I can't remember. I think it might be in Spain, is it? The next leg? Have we already had the Spanish leg? It's one of them. I think it's going to blame the weather. Says Galileo. I think they'll blame their handling. They'll know that this just wasn't the performance that they were after. Ring rows from backwards. And it is in Valladolid. Says Anthony. There's an offside penalty going against Bordeaux yet again here. It's against Damien Pinot. Nine minutes on the clock. At 53 points scored. Bordeaux's still yet to score a try in the second half, but they have actually outscored Leinster when it comes to points. They've got 6 from the 3-pointers that they've taken. Now Gibson Park away to the left-hand side. Henshaw with a short ball to Ringrose. They'll go in for the try. There's still a little bit of urgency from this Leinster side, but it certainly won't be enough. The kick has gone over from Frawley, though. To be fair, they've decided 8.5 minutes. They just have to keep on going. They need 4 more tries here, or at least 3 tries and a penalty. Gibson Park. Just a quick hands from Henshaw, who came back out onto the field after. The change was made. I have a question. Do they get to keep the trophy if they won it a certain amount of times? No, but they do get an extra star. But I think they might get like a replica or something. What about the Under-20 World Cup this year? Will it be played? That's being played in Georgia. And it's happening in only a couple weeks' time. Playing the Leinster forward, says Seller. Now 8 minutes remaining. 41 points to 19. 60 points between these two sides into the 22. Oh, that was a man taken off the ball. But it was actually obstruction from James Ryan. So that is why he was taken off. Oh, that was a bit weird. One of the loose-head props for Bordeaux actually just shoulder barged the referee. I don't know whether or not he thought he was a player for Leinster or whether he just didn't see him, but he gave him a good old shove there. Blame the forwards, and also Bordeaux literally starved Irish of the ball. See Ruth there too. Yeah, Damien Pinot actually came flying in and almost made the tackle on him. Now kicking it into the corner. Okay, commentators are saying that the penalty could have gone the other way and possibly should have. But line out now for Bordeaux. Chance to get their first try of the second half. Lamouth. Oh, no, sorry, it'll be Barlow at this stage. Thanks very much. Says Mohadeen. And Storm's playing 4G pitch. What will Leinster blame? Says Ben. Handling, I would think. Now rolling ball. James Ryan trying to get down to the middle of it. And it's been dragged down if it's legal. Oh, no, it wasn't legal, so it will be the advantage. Now going against the Leinster side. Triple, quadruple blow of the whistle here from Carl Dixon. This may become something a bit more serious than just the penalty. Okay, they're asking for space here. Rico Ioane right up in the face of one of the Bordeaux players. We have got the Leinster with their own worst enemies today. Don't blame the rest of these artists. Yeah, they just plain and simple haven't been good enough. The handling's been shocking. Okay. Number 17's clear out here. This is Paddy McCarthy. But also they are just checking to see if this one was dragged down, I think. Oh, no, sorry. 17 for Bordeaux is the man who might be in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, that's quite dirty, actually. He's gone right through the middle over the top. He's seen James Ryan on the ground. It is a cheap shot. And I assume that's because of what happened in the last situation. But, yeah, grounded player. They're checking the severity. He luckily had half a brain cell and only hit him in the shoulder rather than the head. Or else that was probably going to be a straight red. I expected a closer contest, to be honest. Leinster not at the races today, unfortunately, says Anthony. And rather late than never. Hello, Amish and everyone, says Rhea. Welcome in. Right, so it is going to be a yellow card for Bordeaux. It's weird to have a stalker here for years, says Seller. All right, so Bordeaux will finish this game with the 14 on the field. Yeah, a little bit of frustration too. Boniface, like they've said, he didn't really need to do that. They're already winning. They already had the ball. That one hasn't found touch for Leinster though, so it hasn't hurt Bordeaux as of yet. Now, nice take from Frawley. 40 metres out from his line. McGrath. Now to Doris. Can they get another one quickly before the end of this game? Leinster. Would mean that they were only one try behind. Oh, another knock on. That's been the day at the moment for the Leinstermen. They just haven't been able to get it going. It's a legal clear out, says I am nutty. Not at that pace, it's not. And unfortunately, if your opponent's prone on the ground, you aren't allowed to fly in at full tilt and try and get a cheap shot in on them. However, they bring back the French TV director, says I am nutty. And also, if Leinster would have not been so rash in the first half and make silly errors, they could have won the game today, says Jack. So Maxime Luku actually did get the man of the match. Even with that yellow card, they've decided that the impact that he's had throughout this game, he was able to score a try earlier on and has had some brilliant kicks throughout the 75 minutes. And Superb Commentary rocks this planet again. And also, like Grant Fox says in Rugby 08, no way back from here. It's all over but the shouting for Leinster, says Artis. Yeah, now it's just the 5.5 minutes of waiting, isn't it? See the end result. All fed in by Luku again. Breaking off the back, Mathieu. Oh, ball stolen there by Josh van der Fleer. I don't think anyone actually realised that he had taken that ball so cleanly. Now counter-attack for Leinster. That was a rough pass from Frawley, but he has managed to regather it. And does get the pass back. Now McGrath on to Deegan, who breaks the line with a very nice carry from him. Stepping on the outside too. It's the freshest player out there on the field for Leinster at this point in time. Now McGrath across to James Ryan once more. Leo Cullen should never see coaching role in the top side again, in my opinion. He's so poor, says Jack. And we have got the A-Roof been on leave. So busy over here, Precious. I'm glad to pop in every now and again. Says Rhea, backline here. Frawley does lure in almost Louis Biarre off his wing. Now 3 metres out. McGrath just took a little bit too long to get that ball in. Hugo Kennan, he's returned from his HIA. Now looks like Tommy O'Brien's going to need one. He's staying down for a little while on the far side of the field, although I think that's actually a limp rather than a head knock. Now 4 metres from the line with 4 minutes remaining on the clock for Leinster. Kelleher plays Dan Sheehan, probably earlier than they normally subs Sheehan, but it's just due to it not quite going the way that Leinster would have liked. Andrew Porter ready to pick and go again, gets that little bit closer to the try line. Kelleher has got Tyke Furlong, goes off to him. That was quick. The ball was lifted and Bordeaux have somehow been able to steal that ball. And again, it was just too slow from Leinster, like I mentioned in that breakdown. They were able to get up off the line. I think it was a prop, or it might have been one of the big forwards. Oh no, never mind. It wasn't Ben Tamefuna, it was Moefana. Probably disappointed that he didn't get the Man of the Match award in the end. He has had, once again, an absolutely incredible game. I would say that in some regards, it's been overshadowed by what Luku's been able to do. But again, Moefana, you're talking about a 9 out of 10 here from that man in a game where it mattered most. Kelleher, nice take from Deegan. Wait to the left-hand side again, moving the ball on for Leinster. Ringrose does a bit of a spin there. Still with 3 minutes left, chipping behind, attempted by Frawley, going shoulder to shoulder. He claims the ball there for Leinster, but Luku again tries to get the steal. McGrath passes across to the right, 1 metre short for the Leinster side here, and drop ball from Caelan Norris. This time, Luku deserves Man of the Match. He's better than Dupont. Says Joe Mann. Joe Simmons for the top 14 player of the season. Says Warren, sadly, I haven't actually watched enough full matches of the top 14. You have to get a separate subscription here in New Zealand. On top of the EPCR TV, URC TV, Sky Sport. It's the 3 main ones, but yeah, another drop ball for Doris. And you can see the frustration for Leo Cullen. Every time they almost get it going, Leinster, it's just been that ball slipping through the fingertips. That completely kills the momentum. I think we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. But they're just showing the crowd again. It has been an incredible atmosphere at this game. Alt charge down there for Leinster, but go back for the initial Leinster knock-on first. That was actually a separate knock-on than the initial one that I mentioned. That's not ideal. We see there's Jelly Burr. The celebrations on the sideline are just taking place. Sam Prendergast, that was a very interesting handshake with Leo Cullen there. There was almost the look of, well, it was definitely frustration, but it was almost like Sam Prendergast knew that he maybe should have played this game. But he just didn't want to say it to the coach. UBB, participating Leinster now, says, I am nutty. 45 seconds left, 41-19. There's such a difference of power, says Lloyd there. Another free kick goes the way of Bordeaux. Leinster have been needing a change in coaching staff for 2 years now. Factual. Oh, sorry, farcical, says Corey. And also, no, Dupont, Captain Fantastic, says Ruth. Saying there, Ben Tamefuna, he's just going to throw himself at the line again. Now 15 seconds separating Bordeaux from back to back. Now 8 seconds, bit of a counter ruck there from Leinster. James Ryan manages to take it. This might be all. It's going to be the penalty to Leinster, so they will get the last play of the day. Mafana absolutely brilliant, says Ruth. Like McGrath considered the kick towards the sideline ahead of the tapping option. But now, last chance for Leinster. Louis Bielbiarei is wagging the fingers now. He knows that this one is in the bag. And the Bordeaux back-to-back, like I mentioned, it is now secure. Maxime Luku. At the moment, I'm wondering how they're going to go defending this one, Bordeaux. A lot of the players are really fair. Oh, they've managed to steal it anyway. Loose bouncing ball. And Bordeaux, they just have to boot it out, and they do just that, and they will win the Champions Cup for 2025-26's season. After doing it last year, they've now done it again. Leinster probably shouldn't have been in the final. Poor season. Says Corey, and congrats to Bordeaux, by the way. I'm feeling Leinster will get Scott Robertson. Congrats UBB, next year's finals, UBB versus the Bulls. You heard it here first, says Ben. But that is, of course, only if the Bulls are still in the Champions Cup, with the rumours going round with possible replacements. But what we will do is we'll go like that. There we go. And we will go like this as well. We'll go Leinster 19. Bordeaux. Now you've got 41 at full time. I did that wrong. Hang on. We've got to go like that. 41. There we go. Put that there. The reason for that is because we are going to be having a guest on, more than likely. We have got their Bulls never. Says Warren there. And Bordeaux worthy champions. Cheers, everyone, says Anthony. All teams seem to have worked them out. Luku should be off the bench for DuPont at least. DuPont not getting any younger, says Joe Mann. This Bordeaux team now. The focus goes from this into the next competition. And that is the top 14. They still have 2 rounds remaining. They want to get themselves into that home semi-final situation. It's a bit of a tricky run for this Bordeaux team, but not impossible. They're only 5 points behind the side above them. 6 points behind Montpellier. Of course, got themselves that Challenge Cup final too. So we're seeing 2 wins for the French sides in the Challenge and Champions Cup finals, cementing themselves at the top of the group. We have got there. Congratulations, Bordeaux. Says Cameron there. And I was reading there, Ruth, like the big fish in the small pond. I do well only at home or in Europe. Says Joe Mann. And also we have got there, then we have to have bad internet connections here. Says Rhea. But yeah, there have been many players who stepped up throughout that game for Bordeaux. We saw Maxime Luku do phenomenally. We saw some brilliant work from Mofana. Rayasi, he was a bit more quiet than I thought he would be in this game, to be honest, but still had a solid enough game. Jalabert was good from 10. We saw some good work in the lineouts. Bentame Funa, he made his way off the bench and changed the game even more in the favour of Bordeaux. I think Luku should be starting at 10. At least he shouldn't be on the bench. He's a brilliant kicker and can also play at 10. So he's better than Jamie Beer or Jalabert. Or the other fella, says Callum. What's coming up next, Hamish? Next weekend, Super Rugby 7s and URC quarterfinals are going to be on the cards. A UBB on the box of Club Rugby. Says Ben, and Boucheton, amazing player. Yeah, he had a solid game when he came back out onto the field because he got injured early. But then got to come back on because of the extra injury that Bordeaux ended up with. Leinster downhill turn. I started exactly when the neighbour came on board. A good defence. Didn't do a leaky defence at all the expenses of our attack, says Aidan. Well done, Bordeaux, says Daryl. And also Irish need Henry Pollock. That one will fire up some people, Ruth, I would think. But they are about to have the trophy presentation, ladies and gents. And yeah, the Bulls power go, boys. Says Ruth. And there as well. So we were initially going to be having a guest ladies and gents, but I don't know if we have still got said guest. I have sent away the email. We'll stick around for a little bit longer just in case. But there may have been a bit of miscommunication. Perhaps. But they are about to present the Investec Player of the Year trophy to BLBRA. Well, the Lions next weekend, says Stuart Lee. A big opportunity for Leinster to be able to bounce back from this loss. Yep, so back-to-back Player of the Year as well. He has just thanked everyone who was in attendance, which was a massive number, by the way, for this neutral location, although it did feel like it was in France with the amount of support for Bordeaux. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Like I mentioned, we've got Super Rugby next weekend. We've got the URC quarterfinals. We've got sevens as well. And if everything runs smoothly, we will also have some competitions that you guys can actually win real prizes in. Hopefully, if everything runs smoothly. Love seeing Leinster getting pumped. Love it, says Glow. I thought Leinster would get beat, but not like this. The fans should win the drinking stakes tonight. And also Leinster next week to there. And rest of URC teams. URC playoffs. Yeah, big games coming up for the URC. I can't believe we're already at the quarterfinals, to be honest, but we are. Should be a very exciting one indeed. France lost 3 World Cup finals, not that bad. Event of the Netherlands of rugby. Says attack the gas station. Sounds like it's more attack the French at the moment. We have got the great French and the English. 2 goats, says Ruth. In there as well. But yeah, nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all for the next one.